our heater stopped working for a day.
Yeah, I heard.
We called someone in, and basically they told us, yeah, it's because it's too cold out. It can't pull in warm enough air to get the proper air mixture working. So we had to pull air from in the house to keep the keep the furnace running.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Sonic Talk podcast. I am your host, Knuckles87, and with me today is GX and Shigs.
I'm sick of being cold. It's too cold. There's too much snow.
Well, how do you think I feel? Did you know that it went into the 50s for me today?
You poor baby. You poor baby. I have like a foot and a half of snow that got dumped on us like a week ago that isn't going away. It's still there.
It went below freezing for me late at night for a couple nights in a row.
I lost my furnace, you jackass.
I've been lucky here in Oregon, and it's been staying around the 50s this past week. Normally, this time of year, it's the opposite. We're the ones getting all the cold and snow.
It is warmer. It is warmer in Anchorage, Alaska, than it is in Orlando, or was. I think the cold front is largely passed, although another one's coming next week.
So what are we doing here today?
Well, I am
realizing that climate change is real.
I did that a little while ago.
I've known that for 20 years. I thought we were all on the same page with that, man.
Oh yeah, we are.
Anyway, we've also been playing games and stuff. I guess if you really need to know,
I've been editing podcasts for YouTube upload. I don't know what y'all been doing.
Well, I just got done with a visit from my niece and her fiance, my housemate and I spent a good chunk of time setting up a mini PC for them, and for like as a Christmas / birthday present. Full of ROMs and emulations and stuff, all legally obtained, of course.
All backups of your own cartridges that they will, of course, be holding on to during that amount of time.
Oh yes, certainly. Wink, wink. But in any case, so that did really get me it helped get a major retro itch going for me. Technically, it wasn't affecting me before all that stuff even started, but then went into overdrive, and so I have been doing some stuff on my old consoles. First of all, I have finally sat and dug deep into a Sega Saturn game that I haven't been enjoying for a while, but I've never sat and played long enough to actually beat, and that is Bulk Slash, which is a 3D 3D flight mech shooter where you transform between a robot and a jet with different weapons and stuff, and purely as just in terms of gameplay, it is something that I have enjoyed. I've been enjoying for years via backups, and then later my Sega Saturn cartridge, ROM cartridge and such. But this time I finally got to try out the new fan translation that came out last year, which doesn't just localize everything in English. It's also one of those translations that adds English voice work to everything, which for this game is kind of impressive because it one of the core gimmicks of the game is that you get a navigator that reacts to you and tells you where your mission objective is and what weapons you've gotten. And like there's like 7 different ones that you can collect over the course of the game, and they're all girls, of course, because this is a Japanese game. Um, but and like and so like the basic premise of this is that, like, you get a navigator, then you take them to the end of the game, and then you can like save the game, then you replay it and get a different navigator. um I haven't played long enough to see like what the gameplay implications of that is, but you can apparently level them up over the course of a completed playthrough. um so I guess eventually, if I stick with it, I'll get to find out what that is. But so like at a basic level, like I said, it's a 3D shooter. You use the triggers to turn. Uh, the controls in this game are really smooth. Like for an early 3D game, it plays extremely smoothly, which is one reason why I really enjoy it. The visuals are very impressive for a 1997 32-bit game, because like it's just full of enemies and 3D buildings and objects and stuff, and just like explosions and particle effects everywhere that just like fill the screen. It's wild. Um, and and uh, and there's like I think 7 or 8. There's 7 missions that you go through. Uh, each with a different objective: destroy this, protect that, and it's just a really fun, smooth 32-bit action game. So like, if like I recommend it. I recommend it to anyone who's going through the Sega Saturn library, if especially now that we have an English translation, which is, by the way, very, very effectively done. Like, it feels like something from 1997, which I do mean as a compliment. Like, I'm certain that is intentional. um, like this feels like, just a lost Sega Saturn translation. And oh yeah, and also I did forget to mention, it's one of the few Sega Saturn games that pulls off proper transparencies, which is really neat. So it's also like one of the Sega Saturn's graphical showcases for '97. But in any case, moving on, I've also been playing Earthion. Now, Earthion is a new game for the Sega Genesis, uh, from the developer Ancient, who y'all might know from like certain Sega Game Gear games and stuff and such. But like it's a studio of legendary composer Yuzo Koshiro, whom, as I recall, worked on Streets of Rage and like I think at least one Sonic 8-bit soundtrack, if I remember correctly. And like his music is legendary. And like,
I mean, there's like the things that he is probably most famous for, aside from like Streets of Rage 2, is like the map drawing RPG series whose name I can't remember off the top of my head now.
It's oh damn it.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
Yeah, I don't know why either of us can remember it at the same time.
I should know this game. Okay. DS map RPG.
Etrian Odyssey. I finally remembered. And then also I believe oh jeez. Now, my brain has stopped working today. It is simply too cold. The NX world building action RPG.
I have no idea what that could be.
The one where you're God and you inhabit a statue, but then sometimes you're an overhead view where you're an angel trying to build a society.
Oh, ActRaiser?
I believe he's involved. I believe he did the ActRaiser soundtrack as well.
I wasn't aware of that. But so like Earthion, like, it is a Sega Genesis shooter. It is made on the Sega Genesis, and then was like brought to other platforms via emulation. And like as a Sega Genesis game, it is extremely impressive. Like there is some really awesome looking sprite animations. The colors are gorgeous. Like and the music is just incredible. It's just it has a great soundtrack. That man made the Sega Genesis music chip just per man. Um but now of course I am a original hardware connoisseur, so I bought the game on Steam, gave limited run games some money, and then I just kind of got the ROM onto my EverDrive, and I'm playing it that way. And like it is something else seeing it like coming off of the actual hardware, like this feels like something that should really be like on the Sega CD or something, or like the Super Nintendo, at least in terms of the colors. Like it is just a gorgeous freaking game. It's also really good. Like it is a very well playing shooter that like does just enough to like I think be relatively friendly to modern audiences, because the game has a shield system where like you can like tank a certain amount of damage, and and so long as you survive that and you're able to avoid damage, your shield will recharge. There's like a separate shot meter that determines the strength of your shot. That's relatively easy to keep topped off, but it will deteriorate as like part of your health. And like in addition to that, you also get like two different kinds of special shot that like are also on have like their own shot figures that can deteriorate that can go down as you use them, unless you manage to like recharge them by gathering green crystals, and you can like switch between them. And so like there's a decent amount of strategy involved in like saving certain shots for certain situations or certain enemies, and like not using up certain shots and it's like saving them for like a boss fight or something. And so like the game is simultaneously somewhat forgiving and strategic, and also like frankly like the shots are just like, if they feel much more doable to actually avoid versus like your typical old school shmup. um and so like it's got a great system that is reasonably friendly to modern players, which is not something you can really say for a lot of retro shooters, especially since most of them are like one shot and you're dead kind of deals. And the game can also be like extremely cinematic. Like there is a moment early on where where like you're like shooting like fighting like your first like mini boss, and then like a massive capital ship comes out from the background and shoots it down. But then that gets one-shotted by another enemy that becomes like the first true mini boss of the stage that you have to fight while you're also avoiding wreckage from the ship that just blew up. So like yeah, like it's a great presentation too. So this is a game I highly recommend unless you utterly hate shooters, because this is definitely a good one.
And to emphasize, you do not have to get a Genesis or own a Genesis in any way to actually play this. This is also on
No,
Steam that you can just get.
like I said, I bought it on Steam because I'm not giving limited run games money for a physical copy.
Sure.
But I'm just playing it on my Genesis via my EverDrive.
Right.
And I think it's also available on at least the Switch, if I remember correctly. Might also be on PS5.
It wouldn't surprise me. That seems like something they would do. That
like,
seems like where a place you would want to be in order to actually get out to people.
Yeah, okay, it's actually on all of the modern platforms: Switch, PS5, Xbox. So yeah, like if you're looking for a really good 16-bit shooter, I do recommend it. It's $20, It was on sale for $13 during Christmas, so if you can wait a bit if you want. Anyway, that's what that. Aside from GTA 5, which I've talked about on here before, that's what I've been playing.
Cool. You're the host.
Oh, GX, what have you been playing?
Let's go to Shigs first because he has the priority in the overlay and the show notes.
Oh, okay. Shigs, tell us about the Intellivision Sprint and why it is awesome.
Only the newest tech for old Shigs here. I mean, it's only a HDMI version of a 1979 console, you know. But yeah, Atari games, they basically won the rights to Intellivision and their series of games that they own. So I knew I was planning on, because I've gotten kind of the retro bug ever since the 2600 Plus came out, and I was able to purchase a lot of homebrew game, cartridges and such. So I was waiting for them to do a Intellivision Plus, but instead they went with this Intellivision Sprint, which does not have a cartridge slot, so you can't buy cartridges for it. It has 45 games that it comes with, along with 2 whole decks of overlays for your controllers. And it's an HDMI. It's got like 3 USB ports in the back. 2 are for wireless controllers, and 1 is for if you've got a USB dongle and you want to add games to the system. Although it completely, the only thing is it doesn't add games to the menu you're on. It creates a new menu, and the games are on there. So if you want to play the older games, you have to unplug it every time, which is kind of a pain. So I guess I'll go with the negatives first. And one of the big negatives is something that can't be helped, and that's that they are very faithful to the original controls of the Intellivision, except for the curly wire that comes out. These are wireless, which is great.
The biggest criticism for this Intellivision console is that it is an Intellivision. You will be playing Intellivision.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
so like I'm assuming you're mostly talking about like the controller design and the disc.
Yes, the
directional pad and stuff.
The Intellivision controller is the phone controller. It has the number pad one.
Yes, it has number pads. It has 4 little buttons on the side, but basically 2 are functional. It's just the way you hold it, whether you're doing it left-handed or right-handed. So that's its one big thing, is you can hold it left or right-handed and still have the same controls. But yeah, it is a 8-directional disc, not a D-pad, not a joystick, a disc. And that makes it hard to control on certain games if you're playing, like, say, a port of Pac-Man or something that you might have downloaded. You're going to have a little trouble with the mazes in that. Surprisingly, it's good on Parker Brothers Q*bert because diagonal's already there for you. You don't have to, set it at an arc, and that actually works pretty well. But, for the most part, it's the kind of controller that really turned me off to it back in the day. So to set it back, I mean, I'm old enough that I was around during the first, battle of the consoles when it came to Intellivision and Atari, and I was an Atari guy from day one. I mean,
well, like, for example, most people
I was asking for an Atari for a long time, and my dad came home with an Intellivision because he liked the poker game that came with it. He was a card guy, and now my dad was the old-fashioned Kentucky guy that would take the belt to you, and still I was like, get that thing the hell out of there. I want Atari. I gotta have Atari. So I cried about it and finally gave up, and we got an Atari. And this is my first time actually owning an Intellivision console of any kind.
Okay, so he didn't keep the Intellivision?
No, he returned that, and we got an Atari. Back then, you could actually return video games and video game systems without any fuss.
Oh, damn.
And anyway, I guess the other thing is, yeah, it's an Intellivision, so it comes with 45 games included, and about half of those are just complete crap. They're just not very good at all.
That's a good hit. That's a good hit rate for Intellivision.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing that really cheeses me off also is that there is no you have overlays for these games, but some of these games are complicated to use because they have certain rules in that you need an instruction manual for, and there are no instruction manuals for any of these games. I think here, let me I'm trying out the game right now. I think there's a QR code thing when you check show controls. Let me see.
So I will highlight, obviously this can still be an existing criticism of the console itself. I will tell you that archive.org does have a lot of instruction manuals backed up. So if you do need an instruction manual for a game, there's a decent chance you can find one online.
Yeah, you can go online and that, but there should there should be something included in the actual console itself, and there's not.
Yeah.
Which is insane. I really don't care for that. I will say there are some games that are I really enjoy. That my favorite probably being Thunder Castle, which has great graphics for an Intellivision. They got each level has this nice title screen intro that's very animated. The gameplay's like Dungeons and Dragons meets Pac-Man, where you're going through this castle, but first you start off in this hedge maze where there's a dragon chasing you, and you're collecting treasure that might have different power-ups. Where again, if you have the instruction manual, you know what each one of these power-ups do. And then you have power-ups which are an odd choice for power-ups. Like in the hedge maze, if you come across a bat and touch it, it'll become invincible like a star in Super Mario, and you can go chase the dragon and kill it. You have to kill it 3 times, and it gets a little faster each time. And then in the second level, there are 2 wizards, and if you touch a rat, you become invincible and can go kill the wizards. And then the third level is demons, and if you touch a red skull, you can try to attack the demons. But that one, it's got great music, great graphics. It's a fun game to play. But the other thing that I'll say positive about it is, one, if you don't like the controls that comes with, like I said, there's 3 USB ports, and 2 of them are for controllers, and you could just get a wired USB controller, and you can use that for a joystick and 2 buttons. And what you could do is you can take out your first player controller and put make sure to put the USB controller in USB 1. And if it's a simple game, you could just control it right like that. But if you need to, like, say, press 1 for 1 player or something like that, you may have to reach over and use the regular controller. But at least you have alternatives to control the games in case, the controller's not working very good for you. And the second thing is, I originally was turned off to this and wasn't going to get it because it didn't have a cartridge, because I wanted to, get homebrew in the future. But I'll say now that once I learned about the USB dongle and now that I have it, the opposite is true. You can go online, and I'm not saying about, going online and finding, ROMs or whatever. I mean, you can do that if you want, of course, but there are a ton of free, legal homebrew television games you can download. You can go on Atari Age, and they got a list of ones. They have certain places like Intellivision Collectors, Intellivision.us, where you can even buy their homebrew ROMs and purchase them there, and they're usually about $12 tops. And so you can have this nice homebrew collection, put it on a USB dongle, and play there. If you want, say nothing more than just a graphic of the 8-bit Running Man in the title, you have to do such things as make sure to have a config file so the controls work good, unless it already comes with one. Like if you're getting one from a reliable source or purchasing it, it'll come with the config and everything like that. But also you need to do you might have to download box art and screenshots, and if you want to text description. You can do that on your own. It's actually not very hard to do. I did it for several games. It's pretty easy. Also, somebody on Atari Age did. If you're downloading some of the Intellivision games that just couldn't be put on the system because of licensing issues, like discs of Tron, there's like a half a dozen Tron games on that system, or some of the advanced Dungeons and Dragons games. Atari Age has ones that don't have the ROMs, but they have the box art and the screenshots and the text and all the descriptions and everything. Even the overlays, when you go to show control and you want to see what the overlay looks like, it's on there. So that's really handy. So yeah, not crazy about the initial games that came with it, but I'm very, very happy with the homebrew scene on it. So it kind of made it worth purchasing. Plus, it's a hard system to come by. I mean, Atari.com itself has sold out a few times on it because it's a very niche thing. So I don't think they're keeping too many of them in stock.
It's honestly just a little too expensive for me.
Yeah, it is a little too expensive. But I mean, I was originally planning on buying an original television and starting from there, and I think this was the better alternative to go for me. And I'm enjoying it so far, especially the homebrew stuff. But there are some good stuff that came with the initial 45, like I was mentioning, including some surprisingly the best 8-bit pro wrestling game I've played, because it's hard to find a good pro wrestling game, but they have this
feels
one.
like something that the bar is low on, but nevertheless,
yeah, it's a very very low bar to find a good 8-bit pro wrestling game. Anyway, outside of that,
you've been playing Dispatch, right?
I was stupid enough to pre-order the Switch 2 version of Dispatch because nobody had told me that it was going to be heavily censored.
Nobody knew until
nobody knew.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and complain as like, oh darn, I can't see dongs, but it probably should have at least been clearly communicated beforehand.
Like for me, I don't know. There's only like a couple dongs in this. But for me, the bigger issue is just the censorship of the language. At least it would be if I owned this version.
Hold on. The language is not censored. There's a censoring option where you can censor the language or you can have it off.
Oh, the way it was described to me was that it was just the censored version of the PC game, which also censors the language.
No, there is an option to censor the language, or I think it's automatically on, but you can turn it off. So I have all the swear words I want. That's fine. It's just the nudity has these big black bars that are kind of weird because they're not censored properly. It's just like these big square rectangular bars. So it kind of looks odd when they're there. But yeah, that's the one thing that pissed me off. Otherwise, yeah, it's a decent little almost like a Telltale game, as far as being an animated superhero. Like I'm only saying this as having only played episode 1 because I've been busy with a lot of other things, and my primary gaming has so far has been Disney Speedstorm and Animal Crossing when I do have time for gaming. Oh, and a bit of Sonic Rumble.
But
you
gotta get into Dispatch, man.
Yeah, I gotta get more into Dispatch because I enjoyed the first episode. I enjoyed what I saw so far, and I like seeing the results of your decision was about the same as these other people, and that. So that was interesting.
So did you kiss Blonde Blazer?
Yeah, I would have had kiss Blonde Blazer because it looked like that's where it was, heading. But then she's like, "Oh no, wait, I didn't mean for that." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Ooh, you need to play episode 2. Okay.
Anyway, so I mean, Dispatch has been talked to death on every podcast, so I'm going to go straight on to the Switch 2 edition of Animal Crossing, which I don't think I should have gotten the Switch 2 version right away because really, all that really is a resolution bump. And
it is, but also it's a very cheap upgrade though.
Yeah, well, $5 is still for a resolution bump, which you're not going to. And that's the thing. The frame rate is 60 frames per second when docked, but it's back to 30 when you're playing on the portable, which is weird.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's 30 handheld and then 60 docked, which for something with simple graphics like that is a little ridiculous. But the other thing is, I did not do the save transfer before switching from Switch to Switch 2 because I did not know about this thing for Animal Crossing. So I realized my game save was gone. There's no way to bring it back. So I was like, well, screw it. I'm just going to start with a new island and start all over again. And unfortunately, that means I don't have the hotel yet, so I can't really talk too much on that end.
But you can talk about mouse controls.
I can, but I didn't really use mouse
but
controls.
Yeah,
but I didn't use that at any time. I did. There is a megaphone you can use to talk to specific islanders, and I don't know how to use it. All I do is I hold it down, and he just goes, beep, 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 and it doesn't do anything. So I got to figure out how to use the megaphone properly.
I thought it was specifically used for multiplayer, to be able to communicate with people through multiplayer, isn't it?
Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe because I was confused. I thought I was being able to talk to my islanders.
Yeah, I think you use the actual microphone, and it's used in multiplayer interact. Oh no, wait, no. I guess you can. I think it is using the actual Switch 2 microphone, though.
Okay, well then, it's no good to me.
I don't know.
But anyway, I am enjoying going back to it. Day after day, just for like a half hour or an hour or so. Just to start slowly developing my island all over again. It's a shame I don't have some of the neighbors that I enjoyed originally, but I just got new ones.
I'm probably looking for an opportunity to jump back in at some point, so I don't know. You and I can connect if you're gonna stick with it.
Yeah, if you have the transfer save, and then that's great because you'll probably get the hotel and everything and be able to have your own rooms with some video game consoles. But when I found out about those video game consoles, if you have Switch 2 online, it's still only one game from each console. Like if you're playing Super Nintendo, I think it's just F-Zero, and you can only play F-Zero and nothing else. Which is kind of but at least it's better than it was back then.
It sounds very much like they were trying to simulate the feeling of how it was on the GameCube, but
at least they
tried. The GameCube was way more generous with the old school games on that.
Well, I find it funny is you still need an NSO subscription to access the games.
Oh yeah, it's it's just playing. I believe it's just playing the games from the NSO apps, as far as I know.
So you think they could be more generous?
Maybe.
In any case, is that everything for you, Shigs?
Yeah, that's everything for me.
All right, let's move on to GX.
So I've been playing. Playing is an ambitious word. Consuming, watching, experiencing. Blippo Plus has been happening to me. So okay. I'm having a hard time because this is weird. But the concept of Blippo Plus is that it is not really a game in the conventional sense, or realistically in any sense. It is sort of a video experience, and the experience that it is very much like, okay, you have we'll say early 90s cable box equivalent that you can navigate and change channels to as you are receiving television broadcasts from another planet. With the general vibe being like, hey.
Oh, I heard of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it's a lot of public access style grade of programming where you could tell everything's made just a little bit on the cheap, but it's also incredibly weird and bizarre. And I have a really strong love of the public access style comedy entertainment, the kind of stuff that you would get from like a Tim and Eric Awesome show.
Yeah, I was gonna say Adult Swim.
Yeah, where it feels like both low rent, but also just bizarre and strange and off-putting enough that that it's entertaining. And the premise literally is you are getting television shows from another planet. Whenever you start it up, you start by, you know, just getting a screen of channels that you can watch, and you just flip through channels, and you can switch over to a channel guide and see what's playing. And effectively, there's usually like 5 shows per rotation, and the shows themselves are only like 2 minutes each or so, like 2 or 3 minutes, something like that. So generally speaking, you can watch everything in a reasonable amount of time. I'm guessing, I'm just making an estimation here, but like you could probably watch a full slate of programming in about 30 minutes or so, and consume everything. And then at that point, you will get a notification that you get in another data packet, and that represents the next week of programming. This originated as a Playdate game, Playdate being the strange little handheld that had the crank. I'm not sure if you remember that one. And the way that operated is they couldn't really put all the video on that, so it was actually in a bit of an internet stream that you would receive in that would go on a schedule. Blippo Plus just contains all the video. So you can peruse it at your own schedule and go through it. And it's fascinating and weird and funny. There's a bunch of different strange and unusual programs and just things that, like, from a genre perspective, you would find familiar, but with bizarre twists. I think one of the most noteworthy ones is there's some medical drama soap opera series, but the catch on it is like every character is a clone of the same person, so every character is played by the same actress. There's like there's a weird science history show where this planet has developed the ability to be able to talk to and communicate with the brains of dead people. So it has all the weird, we'll say, jokiness of a Beakman's World or a Bill Nye, but then also, like, they're just talking to the brains of dead people who don't necessarily know that they're dead, and it's bizarre and strange. Then once you get to week 2, there's a bit of a realization, is like, oh, there's this other planet that we're communicating with. There's another planet that's receiving our transmissions, and suddenly all of the programming begins to revolve around, like, coming to terms with or trying to communicate with or trying to explain things to this now planet that they are connected to in some bizarre way. So, like, they introduce a new channel. It's like, this is the educational channel. It'll teach you things about our planet and our culture. And it's still whacked and weird and, like, there's a show on it where it's just an electronic voice that is reading, like, dictionary entries to you of terminology that this station has, or this planet has for various things, and just trying to explain the culture. And I still need to get a little bit farther in it. It's a fascinating video entertainment software thing that I would have a hard time
FMV
calling
game.
a game. It is kind of an FMV game, but there's really no game to it, so I don't know how to contextual, like, there is a reality where you can, through the standard ways that you can assemble Blu-ray interfaces, that you could probably just put all of Blippo Plus on a Blu-ray and it would function reasonably well. They just opted, like, the game aspect of it makes it a little bit more, immediate, that you can actually flip through channels in a fairly straightforward way without having to wait for the ka-chunk of having to read through from one part of a disc to another part of a disc, and
so there is no weird creepypasta element or I don't know, some gameplay thing that you have to do while you're watching things.
The one thing that is gameplay adjacent is if you spend too much time, or if you spend a certain amount of time on a single week of content, the quality of the programming starts to begin to drift. Like the video feed starts to get like a little bit worse and a little bit worse, and then you have to bring up from the menu like calibration, and then you just have to like fiddle with the knobs until it's properly calibrated again, and then you get to watch whatever in the way that the video was, heavy air quotes intended. But that's kind of about it. Like the only other thing that is a little bit more interactable is there's an information channel that kind of acts like a really basic message board, where week to week they'll have things like, oh, you can go through this specialized menu that has different different sort of informations. Like here's a board of personal ads. Here's a board of people talking about astronomy that want to discuss, who just have like single sentence messages to each other. Here's your horoscopes for the week or whatever. Here's your affirmational messages, that kind of stuff. Personal ads, that kind of thing. It's weird and fascinating and delightful, but again, it's hard for me to call it a game. It's certainly not conventionally a game, but as a piece of video entertainment that you can go out and buy on Steam or Switch or whatever service you want to, it's fascinating and interesting, and I give it a recommendation so far. I've also been playing Castlevania, specifically Castlevania 1 and Castlevania 2, over on the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. I guess just to give the overview of what the collection is, it's a fairly old at this point collection of the more linear Castlevania games, or I would say anything pre-Symphony of the Night. Not everything pre-Symphony of the Night, but most of the pre-Symphony of the Night games. Your NES, your SNES, your Genesis, effectively. And I took it as an opportunity to, like, say, oh, you know what? I want to actually get to the Igarashi-style Metroidvania Castlevanias at some point and just spend more time with those. But I also wanted to kind of see the evolution to get up there. And Castlevania 1 and 2 were interesting experiences that kind of fell on as almost a weird dichotomy of how the games approach difficulty.
I'll be honest, Simon's Quest has been enough to deter me from playing anything Castlevania that's like older than 16-bit.
So that's the interesting experience I want to talk about. So I think that Simon's Quest is an easier game by way of the gameplay asks of it are actually not that difficult. Going back to the original Castlevania is incredibly unforgiving. It is incredibly unforgiving of a game, and I'm kind of wary to jump into 3 because I know 3 has a reputation of being specifically difficult. But it is a linear game, and the collection has save states. The save states are useful, but you only get one of them, and it does not have a rewind feature, which, like, even at that point, rewind was kind of a little bit standard. It would have really benefited from a rewind feature. Castlevania's tough. Like, it is the original. It is the Simon Belmont. It is the you collect power-ups and sub-weapons and just get through linear levels, and eventually you'll get to bosses and fight Dracula. And the thing that makes it as tough as it is there's usually a lot of things on screen that are flying at you that could damage you, and the things that can damage you quite a lot. You don't get very many hits in that game before you go down. I got really stuck in some specific places because in the lead up to some of the more significant bosses, like Death or Dracula, there's usually some pretty tough individual enemies that will get in a lot of hits, and if you die, you don't always have access to all of your upgrades, especially some of your whip upgrades, which you really kind of want to have for that boss fight. So I would just save state at the intro part and just be like, okay, can I get through this gauntlet of enemies? Things like Medusa heads, or these really tough armored enemies, or in the run-up to Dracula, both at the same time. Just trying to dodge through, do damage that I can, and hopefully have enough resources to be in a good position for that boss fight, and probably not, so I'm going to try restarting this run, and then getting through, and then seeing, can I make it without getting hit? Nope, can I make it without getting hit? And just pounding at it again and again until I can actually get to the boss with reasonable amounts of health and resources, and then take on the boss. Castlevania 2, it has some tough BS moments, but almost all of those tough BS moments are because it has its weird crypticness about it. I started Simon's Quest just with an understanding that, like, okay, I'm going to start this going in. I'm going to spend a little bit of time trying to just get a feel for it without using any sort of resources. Then as soon as I feel like I have that feel for it, I'm going to go straight to FAQs, I'm going to use maps, I'm going to use everything that society has built to help you get through this game in the 30 years that it has been since it released. And when you know everything about the game, it is a significantly easier game. The enemies are not nearly as erratic. The platforming in it is not nearly as difficult or challenging or punishing. And part of that comes into the fact that, like, the challenge of the game is trying to decipher its cryptic nonsense. And I can see if it was 1980 whatever, and you wanted to make this action RPG prototype last as long as possible, like, there's room to really get into it and just start drawing out your own maps and trying to figure out, like, okay, these are the real blocks, these are the fake blocks, I need to make sure I avoid this, and, you know, be able to build up. There are optional upgrades in this game that would be really helpful to have. There are strange pathways and interesting secrets and massive red herrings on places for you to go. That could be like, you could spend a half an hour to an hour exploring this part of the dungeon that you never even need to go into, because the only thing up there is a hint to tell you there's a false wall somewhere. There is, I think, one of the most dick moves that they made in this game. Even more so than, like intentionally, like, this is to absolutely screw with the player. Is not like the, oh, you have to kneel at this river in order to have the screen scroll down. No, it's the very first dungeon in the game. Directly before you get to the end of the dungeon, there are 2 false floor blocks. And if you fall through them, the path to get back is all of the way through the dungeon in a massive loop.
Jesus.
Oh dear God.
It's terrible. Now, if you have a map that tells you where every false block is, suddenly that's not really an issue. But like I said, once you remove the information problem with this game, the game itself is actually, pretty reasonable to get through. It's just that the information ask in it is completely unreasonable and cryptic and difficult to understand. I am saying, unless you specifically want the experience of hitting your head against a wall for however many hours until you understand this game, you can use a guide and have a very reasonable experience. I would say use a guide and use maps and use whatever else and use save states. And use save states, definitely. But if you have everything in the world at your disposal to get through it, I found it to be a much smoother experience than the first Castlevania. And that's the first Castlevania with save states. So I don't know, take that as you will. I
admit that I put all of the newer Castlevanias on my niece's aforementioned emulation PC.
Cool.
That really got me interested in playing them myself.
I only played Symphony of the Night for the first time last year. Turns out Symphony of the Night has a lot of weird cryptic BS and a lot of hidden nonsense, but also, pretty decent game.
Well, what I want to do is I want to play Rondo of Blood on my TurboGrafx, and then I want to play Symphony of the Night on my Saturn.
And then you don't want to play Dracula X on your Genesis.
Oh no! I do want to play Castlevania Bloodlines and Super Castlevania on my Genesis and Super NES, respectively.
Which one's Dracula? Is Dracula X on Genesis? I forget.
I think Dracula X is Rondo of Blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was on TurboGrafx.
Okay, I'm getting mixed up. I know one of them's supposed to be the bad version of those two. I know Rondo of Blood and Bloodlines are connected in some way. I forget which one's supposed to be the good one, though.
I've heard good things about both games, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So you're speaking of something you're mentioning safe states. That's is one criticism I forgot to mention about Intellivision Plus is that it's just the game solo. There are no save states. There are no rewind features. That's something I wouldn't expect in the Atari 2600 Plus because it's you're plugging in a cartridge and everything and do with that. But here, when the games are already in the system, you'd expect them to have at least that. I mean, even the Game Station Pro has that for their games.
Next, you need to play Dracula Kid. By the way, I put that on the PC as well.
Kid Dracula is actually in the Anniversary Collection. Yeah, it's supposed to be quite hard.
I'm looking at that because it looks like these games aren't on NSO, and it's $8 right now. So I might just go ahead and give that a buy.
Yeah, it's a decent little collection. Obviously, I'm playing some of the more nonsense ones. I could jump into Super Castlevania at any point and just run through that, and I suspect that's going to be a better experience than me trying to trudge through the NES ones. But I want to have that experience.
Super Castlevania 4, I've heard great things about. Rondo of Blood is supposed to be like a precursor to Symphony of the Night in terms of story and gameplay.
Yeah, it has. It's the one with Richter. So
yeah,
you'll be getting Richter, and then eventually Richter will go meet Alucard, and then you'll spend a game with Alucard. It's good times.
Yes.
Otherwise, I've just been playing, I've been slowly catching up on trying to finish CrossWorlds. And by finish, I mean, finish unlocking the things that are, worth unlocking in that game. I have bought all of the I have Pac-Man. Thankfully, the Pac-Man Festival has jumped me up to enough tickets to buy everything I need to buy. So the only thing left is the remaining rivals. I got everything from the race park, and I'm just got a bunch of Grand Prix left to get through and finish rival battles and get me a Supersonic. So, you know what? That game's still good. Game's still very good.
That's a very good game.
It is. I did have to finally give it a break. Like Sonic games in general, I guess given a break these last few weeks alongside, I guess, my semi-sabbatical at Sonic Stadium. So it's been kind of nice playing other games.
You know what else is nice?
The Chaotix case files.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yes,
they did
it
real
is.
good thing.
Like, given who's apparently behind it, that's way less surprising.
No, it's not, but it's still real good. It's nice to have something that good.
No, come on. Ian Jones Quarterly directed it. So, Cordy directed it. I've been saying his name wrong for years. Oh my god. So, like, he has a great track record.
Look. When it came out that Rebecca Sugar wrote the theme song, I was losing my freaking mind.
I was looking at it and like, wait, is it that Rebecca Sugar?
Yeah. So, do you know that Ian Jones Quarty and Rebecca Sugar are married?
Yes, I've known that for years.
They are. So them working together makes a lot of sense because they did work together on stuff like Steven Universe. I can't remember if Rebecca Sugar contributed to OKKO or not, but I do know that they have collaborated on a lot of things.
Yes.
But I am a massive Steven Universe fan, so hearing that was making me lose my freaking mind. It's like, and it's good. It's a really good theme song. It's really good.
And I was so glad I was able to take a few minutes to like listen to the interview that Sam Procrastinate was running after he debuted to the episode 0, because it was like, yeah, that was a pretty big piece of news that I was not expecting us to get out of this.
Like even aside from the theme song, like, the rest of the music in this is fantastic, and I really hope they release some sort of soundtrack or public release of the soundtrack or music or whatever.
Well, we got the demo from Rebecca Sugar, so
we did.
Fingers crossed we get everything else.
Yeah, I really hope so.
But okay, so the music's arranged by Charlie Rosen and the 8-bit Big Band.
Charlie Rosen is of the 8-bit Big Band.
Okay.
They are a group that, as would suggest, does performances of game music in the style of big band. And
vocals by Tiffany Mann.
Yep.
So in terms of just storyline, like I have been wanting a Chaotix spinoff for a while. I think I've been vocal about that for at least a year on here.
I mean,
I want more Chaotix stuff.
Typically, though, you've kind of hedged your bets on it eventually coming in the form of something from Paramount.
Yes, like it seemed obvious from them. So, because like the Chaotix just feel like such ripe ground for storytelling, because they're like one of the best parts of IDW. They've got a unique premise, great group dynamic.
Last thing you'd expect is like a 1930s radio play type.
Yes, like I never thought that SEGA would do a Sonic audio story podcast.
So I could reasonably see, like, they've done a lot of work with, we'll say, the audio format. Like Tails Tube is barely animated. It is animated in the way that like a PowerPoint is animated with some VTuber models talking over it. It's not particularly visual, and they've had their various like Twitter takeover activities where they effectively do put together just, those kind of voice
really
actor
brief
performances.
scripts.
But
Yeah.
but the current cast has really shown themselves in recent years the way that they can capture these characters pretty reasonably well, even in a voice-only medium. It's really impressive.
God, hearing Jet last year, it's revelatory because it's like, oh my God,
Yeah,
he's not annoying.
they
I
made him a
actually really
character.
like his personality.
Yeah,
And
he's
No,
great.
He's a great character now.
He's a great character. They
one of my favorites.
realized that he sucks, and they made him suck, and it's great.
And now they need to get Silver in here. But anyway, like one thing you can say about this project specifically is that it is great voice direction. Like I would say it's got better voice direction than the games, especially when it comes to certain characters. Which I don't know if you want to get into that right now.
Well, the voice direction is good, but like the voice direction is also in service of a better script than most of the games have ever had.
Yeah, well, than any of the games I've ever had, if we're being honest. Like this is like a legitimately pretty good story, I think.
I might. It's tough because I'm not gonna. I like a lot of the interactions with like CrossWorlds, but CrossWorlds is also not a narrative thing, so
CrossWorlds is great interactions, but like it's also pretty good in that. But it's not narrative.
It doesn't have much of a story to it.
Exactly.
Man, Charmy was great in CrossWorlds, and that does carry through here.
It definitely feels like they have now that Ian Flynn is. And obviously, I don't want to attribute everything to Flynn because it's not just
this
it's
was
not just
also
him. But
written by Dan Jolly and Evan Stanley.
Exactly, but I'm using that as the timeline marker between when they had a previous attitude towards how these games were crafted and how characters were crafted in the games, and now. Has been practically a night and day change. Like Sonic, as much as I harp on the way that Sonic Frontiers presents its story, it does have character interactions that feel much more believable, and that is carried through.
Like that was the game's strong point, in my opinion, because they really dropped the ball with Sage's storyline. But the character interactions were really what helped sell it for me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's by and large, whenever Flynn was writing the comics and was heading the comics, that's one of the things that was always one of the strengths. And I think that is equally a strength of, Evan Stanley and Evan Stanley's leadership of the comic. And, I think that continues to carry through in a lot of these current, like, narrative-focused stuff. I really like this. You know what? Like, with me being as much of the downer as I am about things in the series and the way things in the series have gone, 2026 is starting strong for me personally.
Which is a nice change of pace, I will admit. And unlike with like the Knuckles series, I also really enjoy this.
Sure.
But you see, the writing is still terrible because Sonic says glib in the comics, and Sonic never says glib.
Yeah, the Twitter community that thinks they understand Sonic and doesn't in any way understand Sonic is your version of my attitude towards fans that seem to fixate on what characters are in things, isn't it?
I guess, except I have fun with it.
Sure. I mean, I make fun. Hey, I spent a day on Twitter just making fun of it. I was like, I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this. S-posting S posting. You'll know what to replace the S with.
Crap posting.
Sure.
Just say that.
On Blue Sky, just being like I don't think we need, like, there aren't, I will only use my tamest hot takes on the Stadium account. Only the tamest ones. But I believe one of them that led me to have several days of them was along the lines of we need to revise dead internet theory, that 80% of internet traffic is just Sonic fans talking about what characters need to be in things. So
all of the characters need to be all of the things, GX.
That is certainly what some fans seem to think. I keep interacting with messages on the forums. No, I don't interact. I just ignore them. I keep seeing them. That someone is just like, man, I hope Marine is in this. It's like, nobody cares about Marine. And I don't mean that literally. I mean, nobody outside of the weird Sonic fans care about Marine. Marine was an NPC in one game.
Yeah, but she was real fun in the Archie comics.
Yeah, and that's what people remember. They just want the Archie. They just want their memory of the Archie comics and the version of those characters from the Archie comics. This character functionally only exists in one game as an NPC.
I wonder if
he's never been playable in anything that I can think of.
I wonder if any of the Sonic voice actors can do an Australian accent.
I'm sure they can, and I'm sure it will be really painful to listen to.
Okay, a good Australian accent.
I
don't know.
I don't want to find out.
So going back, I do. So going back to this, so episode 0 that debuted like right in the mix of when I was gonna like watch like a war movie with my family.
Oh God.
And like I was like handling stuff and like the early bits of it, just wrapping some things up, but so that episode that like kind of introduced the whole premise. It was kind of like a prologue that ends with Vector and Sonic getting imprisoned by Dr. Eggman, setting up the framing device that we seem to have for the rest of the series. Which it is a framing device I appreciate, because it lets us have a little bit of Sonic and Eggman in this Chaotix focused thing, and it completely like legitimizes Vector's whole self-narration, which is kind of critical to the identity of this whole thing. He's got to replicate the hard-boiled detective stuff.
Also, it still leans into the fact that it is a ridiculous premise.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Like, right. You're really gonna do that voice the entire time? Yeah, this is a hard-boiled detective story.
It very like IDW has definitely done a fantastic job establishing the Chaotix as sort of also ran friends who are just like I don't want to, I say this lovingly, but they are lovable losers. They are a team of lovable losers.
That's why they're great.
Exactly.
Like, how many Sonic characters can you say that about? Like, there's the Babylon Rogues who are just kind of losers. But then there's the Chaotix who are the lovable losers that we actually want to see get a win every now and then.
Right.
They just harp on the fact that, like, no, they're always broke. Their detective agency is in a crap hole in the wall.
So I believe episode 1 confirmed that Sonic characters can go to the bathroom, and also it confirmed the town that their office was in. It was like Seaside something or other. I don't remember, but we're getting a little bit Bixalore drops there.
They're identifying specific locations, I suppose. Which,
yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, they're at least being consistent with them too. Like, there was references to Spiral Hill and the characters that are most associated with Spiral Hill. There's a lot, like, they definitely play rather hard into the Station Square aspect in all of its background chatter and iconic locations.
So I do want to dive into episode 1, but first off, like, Chicks, do you have anything to say about episode 0?
Nothing to say too much about that, but I'm been really happy with the story overall. And the voice work, I will say my one little nitpick is the Charmy B, the voice actress. It just feels like you can almost see the actress who's playing Charmy B. Like, it is very much a woman playing a boy's role.
You know the actress that is playing it because that is O'Shaughnessy. That is the voice actress of Tails. And it's a little higher pitched, and you can sometimes hear it crack.
I do. It does sometimes break the illusion a little bit, but overall, I do really like Charmy in this. And like, so Charmy, he was like the first thing I really wanted to talk about in episode 1 because like he is hilarious. He's hilarious and he is adorable. I love him. And like in CrossWorlds, like he was annoying, but in a way I could appreciate. But this one, like they do manage to lean more on the cute aspect of him, which is kind of unique to him, where it's like, cute and energetic and stuff and stuff.
There's sort of a play into the fact that like the audience is going to question, why is Charmy ever here? And then the podcast goes on to ask, like, why is Charmy here? Why is Charmy ever here?
Right.
But and like, I don't know, he's useful.
He ends up becoming useful in his own crazy way, yeah.
Like he's vital for breaking into the museum, which it turns out they could have just walked in because the person who wanted to hire them, Mr. Kitsch, gave Charmy a message that he completely forgot to convey. So, like, I guess that one was kind of a wash.
Like he like. For all of the heavy air quote like annoyingness that people feel towards Charmy, and trust me, as someone who interacts with a lot of non,
as a boy playing acting like a little boy kid at that age,
like he's not as insufferable bad as like the token child in the scientist group in the Godzilla movie. Like,
oh yeah,
right.
He's not quite that, because there's an understanding that they're big doofuses, and he's just the small doofus among the big doofuses.
Who's really confident that he is the muscle of the group.
Even Espio, who you would anticipate. Like they've had a weird, interesting dressing down of Espio between this and the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, where it's kind of clear like he's supposed to, or comes across as like the competent one, but also he can completely lose himself in whatever he's doing and the degree to which he believes he should be the most competent one.
Yes, he like has to be the best ninja.
He's also the one that keeps falling for a lot of Rouge's charms, over, and keeps getting fooled, which
like Espio,
the others have learned by now.
Espio feels like the way that Espio is treated among those two things I mentioned feels like the template for what I wish Shadow was. Like,
go on.
Yeah, I get what you mean there.
Yeah, like,
all right.
Yeah. Okay,
where he's like,
where you can have the tougher, serious guy, but understand that tougher, serious guy exists in a world where that does not make sense as a persona.
And I really do love Vector's narration. I love his goofiness. There's just so many great little gags in this, like the Chaotix copter.
Yeah.
I just love that whole sequence.
Barely holding together. They're almost crashing. That's a fun
Who needs a pilot's license? Pilots!
There's a for old heads like us, where you go way back to things like Sonic Heroes and Shadow the Hedgehog, like we were kind of put in position where, you know, it seemed like SBO made a lot more sense for a leadership role in anything associated with the Chaotix, and the feeling that like Vector was in that role kind of felt weird. But I think over the last several years, the way that they've designed Vector has put him in position where he can really carry a leadership role or be...
Well,
he makes a lot more sense as head of the Chaotix than I think he did.
Yeah, because like he is
way early on.
Is a detective agency, and he is like a proper detective now.
Yeah, he is the one that also seems to care the most about being the detective.
And we did get a bit of Knuckles in this, which I do love, and they like just outright just summarized all of Knuckles' Chaotix, which I do appreciate. So, and Knuckles doesn't remember it. Feels right for how it seems to be treated in the canon.
That is probably the single most Archie Knuckles that I have experienced in decades. That is an extremely Archie-coded Knuckles, because he is no nonsense. He does not want people on his island, and what he says on that island goes. It's kind of hilarious how terse he is.
Because they're investigating him as like the lead in a potential robbery, and he makes it very clear that you're on my island where I make all the laws, and like he's not going anywhere.
And it's a manner of making Knuckles funny without all like. I love dumb Knuckles.
Without playing on him being stupid.
Yeah, the thing is, I love dumb Knuckles. If they want to give me dumb Knuckles, I'm fine with them giving me dumb Knuckles. My favorite Knuckles is Sonic Boom Knuckles.
I do enjoy Boom Knuckles.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to lean into that, then extremely private Knuckles, who does not want to put up with this, is funny.
So they break into the museum. They talk to this guy called Mr. Quiche, and they like learn about what was it? Something getting stolen, which we later find out being the astrophasic lens.
The Gaia lens, whatever. They emphasize, hey, there's what, 5 ancient civilizations before, or no, they're in the 5th, and there are 4
ancient civilization, and they're in the 5th.
Right.
So like after that whole detour, they get home, and Charmy sits on his big chair of books, and we get Professor Tori again, and she like gives them the whole rundown on the astrophasic lenses and everything, and we get a much greater sense of her character here, because she is very awkward in this, in a way that feels very purposeful, and it almost feels like something out of Steven Universe or something. I don't know.
It's surprisingly only used in the first episode and not in the second one.
Well, I'm sure we'll be hearing from her again, literally. But yeah, she was only in that one, and that's when they have to hunt down Rouge, because they now think she stole the astrophasic lenses, and so the next one, like the big headlines are the Babylon Rogues and Rouge. This is Rouge's best performance ever. Like,
yeah, really.
It
sounded like a completely different voice actress for this.
This is like the peak example of how big of a difference.
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but she really upped her game in this one.
This is the peak example of how big of a difference voice direction can make, because like Rouge has always been getting this weird voice direction for years now.
A high pitched, and it's more of a squeaky. It's kind of like a squeaky performance. It's more I'm trying to think of how I could really phrase it.
Oh, and the voice is Karen Strassman.
Yeah, like people. Here's the thing. I don't hate Strassman's performance. In other past things, like I would not say it is my favorite among the three. I'm not even saying it's probably maybe the third of the three that I like of Rouge performances. But I don't have this like disdain for it that I've heard so much online. But what this kind of does is it does play into a more sensible tone for what her characterization tends to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Rouge, I feel weird saying this, but it's something I've said before. Rouge has extra permissions as a character to have conflicting interests in the way that most Sonic characters don't.
She's one of the few truly morally great characters we have.
Yes.
And like, I don't know if maybe you could make an argument for Sage also having that now. But like Rouge, it's pretty clear.
But she also, but even within that space, like she has sexual wiles that she showed off here that she tries to use. Most of the time, that is not present or used in any meaningful way in the game.
And I love seeing it used on SBO because he seems to be such an easy mark for that.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
She did do that with him in the comics recently, and he just got all flustered. Didn't know what to do.
God, that was great. I'm so glad they're doing that again too. Like,
but there's also
that's a good pairing.
But there's also the half of her, like she is very much a business character. She has what she knows what she wants, and she does what she does to get it. But she does also have the playful angle where she razzes on Shadow. Like, she is the one person to kind of meaningfully make fun and like put Shadow in uncomfortable positions to kind of watch him squirm or be uncomfortable a bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
Shadow does put up with it.
That's his one technically true friend, I'd say, that he'll put up with that stuff.
And I think all of those aspects,
the closest thing he can consider him having a friend is, anyway.
And I think all of those aspects came into play in this one. Like, she is mercenary in what she's doing. What she's doing is pretty gray, and she is also at the same time like, just watching someone squirm just because. She doesn't have to. It's not really part of it, but
we did kind of skip something. So I'll rewind for just a second. Where this starts out with them investigating a robbery at a mansion while they're on the hunt for the astrophasic lenses, and it turns out like Rouge it turns out that Jet, and they find Jet the Hawk's feather at the mansion, and so that leads them to go talk to the Babylon rogues, while they're also on the hunt for the astrophasic lenses and Jet, and that gets them involved. That gets Vector involved in a one-on-one race with Jet, which I do appreciate that he was very clearly losing that race badly. The absolute only reason why Vector kind of came out of that okay is because Jet got too cocky, of course, because he's Jet, and he started racing backwards, and he almost died.
Like Jet, I make fun of Jet all the time, but yes, Jet has to be good at a thing, and he's good at that thing, and that's kind of the thing he's good at, and the only thing he's good at.
Oh, but then just the way he almost got himself killed. That just feels like such classic for that character.
And then brushed it off as like, I knew what I was doing, of course.
I let you save me.
I think for me, MVP out of that was Storm. Like, Storm doesn't get lines. He had lines in this, and all of the lines were golden. Like, they know how to write for Storm as well.
Yeah, and I do continue to appreciate the voice actress for Sakura doing Wave. She does a good Wave.
Solid wave. Yeah.
Yep.
But and of course, while that race is going on, SPO has that confrontation with Rouge that we mentioned, where we find out that she planted the feather, Jack's feather, to track the Chaotix, so that she'd have time to clear her name with the astrophasic lenses. So it's like someone is like impersonating multiple characters while they steal this thing. Which I am wondering if this means we're going to be getting an original villain out of this, because
unless it's Mimic,
it could be Mimic, I guess. Well, although like this, I guess this could take place before he died.
Yeah, we know it has to come after Sonic Forces, because if they're already referencing, and we will talk about this later, Spiral Hill and the people therein, then those characters have to exist first in order to to be referenced. But beyond that, like, who knows? Like, this could be... They certainly haven't referenced Sage at any point, so
nope.
It very well could be in a pre-Frontiers standpoint.
So, any final thoughts on this?
I guess if there is... So, I'm of two minds. And I'm also stretching because Shig says had to step away briefly. I'm of two minds on this. If ever there were a Sonic series that was more closely tuned to what the game's universe, and like, hey, I know Sega's going to say Sonic Prime is the game's universe. Like, no, like an actual series that takes place within the world of Sonic. This is basically everything that I would want out of it. Like, this is the kind of storytelling that I would want out of it, that if they're going to do something episodic, like, I don't need them to try something with the tone of like a Saddam again. It's also something that I think would be incredibly hard for them to pull off. But having the weird side stories about characters like this that just take you through a tour of these places, sort of vaguely working towards interesting goals, the way that you can just have the characters interact and bounce off each other in believable, strong ways is incredibly charming.
And it's like we have a storyline that feels consequential, even though it's like, it's not going to be, but like, but it feels big for the Chaotix specifically, because they just don't get a lot of stuff like this.
Knuckles, what is the one thing that I have harped on the series for forever, since like the 2010s? No, not the 2010s. Let's say specifically, since Frontiers-ish.
World building?
Yeah. World building.
And we're getting lots of that here?
Yeah, like, they're actually doing world building. And world building definitely does establish, like, these are places of importance that you can take characters and have experiences in. But also world building is like, hey, these characters should have attitudes towards each other, or, like, they should have opinions of other characters.
Yeah, like, it was really refreshing hearing Sonic talk about the Chaotix and Vector specifically, because it's like, Sonic kind of acknowledges that, he's a bit of a loser.
Yeah. It reminds me of the comic moment, like, one of my favorite comic moments before I was taking my break from IDW, that, like, the most believable moment building up Silver as a character was the moment where he was just talking with Blaze, and I don't remember the exact quote, but it was like, he's talking about Sonic and just saying, like, I don't know whether to high-five him or punch him in the face. And it's like, yeah, you know what? Hanging around with Sonic would probably be annoying at some point. Just knowing how Sonic is as a character, he'd probably be annoying to a degree. Yeah. He would probably be charming, too. But also, he would probably be pretty annoying.
And the Chaotix seem to be getting on Tails' nerves a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
But
it's cool. Yeah, it's cool to see these. If we're gonna have a series that's going to place such emphasis on having so many characters, situations where you can have these characters interact without necessarily having Sonic be the fulcrum in which the universe rotates
Right.
is pretty darn good. We got a bunch of that in
Yeah.
CrossWorlds. Like, I was going through and was like, okay, I picked Cream, and my rival was Dr. Eggman, and just hearing the weird exchange with them was like, okay, yeah, sure. This is a weird exchange, but it's not an unbelievable one.
Story-wise, it's kind of like those Jack-specific figures. You just get sick of Sonic after a while. You want some of the other characters to take center stage.
Well, especially if you're gonna build a world. Like you need to have those kinds of stories. And if I have and like I said, I'm of two minds. If I have a criticism thus far, and it's only a half-hearted criticism, I guess, because I'm still enjoying it quite a lot, is it does smack a little bit of the stuff I was critical of in the Metal Virus arc, where it largely feels like an excuse to kind of rotate characters in and out without necessarily telling a more plot-driven story. Like, it definitely feels like they're being jerked around a lot without really
but that's
building to anything. But
that's the intention of the criminal.
They're taking their time.
Yeah,
but also they're taking their time so they can, introduce characters that maybe people who aren't too familiar with the Chaotix or with Sonic's friends.
And I understand
a little bit more about him.
I understand that, but at the same, like, I understood that during the Metal Virus arc as well, and I just found it frustrating as someone who does know the characters and just kind of sees the artifice as it is. I think this one's just done with a bit more skill than that.
This is a mystery, so like you're gonna have different suspects that they have to talk to and have dealings with, which is what we've been seeing so far. Like Knuckles was a suspect, Rouge was a suspect, and the Babylon Rogues, they had talked to them.
Yeah,
because
the structure kind of lends itself to that, but at the same time, it still brings with it a concern that are they going to tell a story, or are they going to have a cavalcade of characters that rotate in and out, or could they accomplish both a little bit better? Hopefully, this is a really half criticism though. Like, I'm just this is me just trying to pretend to be consistent in that I like this a lot more than like the Metal Virus arc, even if I acknowledge that it's doing some of the same things.
Shibs, anything from you?
I just love that I could get, brand new Sonic content while I'm driving, in my car on the way to work.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely enjoyable. And I think so far they're doing an absolutely fantastic job with it.
So, all right. So I see what's next on your docket is Sega Starts a Crime podcast.
We talked about we
made a okay. So So at the end of the episode, they revealed they're going to Spiral Hill to talk to Tangle and Whisper, which means
I'm very
that unless we're doing something really weird, they're going to talk for the first time.
Probably.
What's that, Tangle? You can't talk. All right, well, I'll just communicate what you're saying to me out loud.
Whisper's so quiet we can't hear her. I have things to say about this, which is why I am trying not to say
Laryngitis.
something.
Oh no!
Please say what you want to say, because I'm holding on to something that I desperately want to say eventually,
All
but I
right,
don't want to
well,
consume the conversation.
But well, like this is a huge milestone for them, like because like admittedly they could get like share the same voice actor with another Sonic character. There's cheaper things they can do specific to this production, but like no matter what, I do expect that after this they're going to have official voice actors that can be used in other media after this,
There's
which is
like
huge for them.
in video games and like NPC characters and stuff. Or it doesn't seem like they're going to have a voice in Sonic CrossWorlds, although maybe now they are. Who knows?
I mean, that would be surprising if they did, but who knows?
So, okay. So I've been mapping it out in my head as like, this could be the first time that they speak. There's two circumstances where I could see it otherwise. Circumstance number one is, hey, the Nintendo Partner Direct comes around, we suddenly have a trailer of the next couple upcoming DLC packs, and they show off Tangle and Whisper talking, and they get to be one of the DLC characters. That is a possibility. Possibility number two is sometime between now and next week, we get a Tales Tube that introduces them before the podcast does.
No, that'd be wild.
Both of those things are very true. Like they could be gearing up a bigger debut for them. So like
and those are like the vectors that they would use to kind of have these characters make a more public splash to introduce them to, people who aren't directly in tune with the comics. And to be clear, Tangle and Whisper are big within, like, they are big enough to have some degree of awareness outside of the comics. People I know who do not read a person I know who does not read the comics definitely knows who Tangle and Whisper are. They definitely know who Tangle and Whisper are.
Well, like if you've touched any of the live service Sonic stuff, like you've seen them by now,
or have any exposure to the fandom in any way, shape, or form, you will know who they are, because they are the biggest thing to come out of the comic.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that this is just a start, and that like Surge and Kit will be getting similar treatment soon.
I've definitely been rolling like this could.
Surge is obviously going to be the next one if it's anybody. I mean, she's been in the mini games in Sonic Rumble.
Yeah, like she's definitely been placed as like, hey, if they're going to do something else with these characters, Surge would also be an excellent character to have in a production like this. She would make a lot of sense in a production like this, provided that she is part of the universe in the time that this takes place.
Yeah, which we technically don't know if this takes place after Forces or further down the line.
Because so many of the characters that we have met so far have been the characters that are antagonistic towards the core cast. Like, we've had the Babylon Rogues, we've had Rouge. Like, these are the kind of characters that like make sense within a film noir kind of.
And I think beyond them and Eggman, like we have maybe Shadow, I guess, and then we have to start getting into characters like Fang and
characters
and the possum dude whose name escapes me again.
Well, yeah, Clutch. I don't think. Trust me, I would love Clutch to be a mainstay of the series. I don't think Clutch is ever going to get that. But Fang, boy, I think Fang is still going to live in classic land for the foreseeable future.
But like we are running out of antagonistic characters.
We are, But at the same time, like, I don't think we get the deadly. This does not feel like a story where you get a deadly
Although
six.
I will say we got too many dang treasure hunters, so we don't really need Fang in the current timeline as well.
Hey, Fang is a sniper.
Is he?
Yeah,
He's a
snipes
sniper
people.
and he does treasure hunting
Is
too.
he
There's so many characters.
I have never witnessed a game in which he actually did any sniping. He mostly has like small pistols.
He shoots people with a Pac-Man, but he's called Fang the Sniper.
He has like
or at least he
handguns.
was.
He has like handguns. I've never seen him snipe
No, he's
anything.
called Fang the Hunter.
So.
But anyway, so yeah, so really looking forward to hearing how they sound. I am wondering if we might get any usable voice clips for like mods out of this.
This is if they don't get voiced in CrossWorlds, suddenly they'll have a voice to inject into CrossWorlds.
Yes.
Am I good to go on my thing for a little bit?
Oh yes. I thought you already did. Go do it now.
As we previously said, the one thing that I want out of this series right now, that I have reiterated again and again on this podcast, is the degree to which I don't care if they choose a route where there's no meaningful canon or there is a meaningful canon. But whichever route they choose, I want them to actually commit to it. And they seem to have committed to having some form of canon. And to have that make sense, if they want to live this life where they get to say, yeah, everything is Sonic's world, I want them to commit to it. And they don't have to commit to it by saying, well, you have to read the comics in order to understand the games. Much in the same way, like, you don't actually have to watch it.
That's what I keep hearing people on social media say when they're talking about like how they don't want the comics to be canon to the games, because well, then you'd have to read them and stuff, and they'd be so hard to work in.
You know what? You know what? I can tell you comfortably that there are almost no Marvel films that you have to watch the Disney Plus series to understand. Like, if
that is true.
Well, there are a few.
No, I don't think there are. I
like,
think
almost all those movies are standalone.
Yeah, the only people that it isn't standalone for are the people who have forced itself onto them that they have to feel like, no, I need to know about the background of this kid. Like, no, just watch the film. You'll pick up whatever you need to pick up. There will be context clues. A good performance out of an actor and a well-written script will tell you what you need to know about the scene and the character and the situation.
A cartoon character is easy to introduce to people. You just get, just get their personality over, and you're pretty much done.
It's even easier to do that in
their
Sonic.
Personality and their ability.
Yeah,
and it's even easier to do this in Sonic because Sonic has a much looser canon.
Yeah,
they do this pretty well in the AiAi comic book where like they just mention what Sage's whole deal is and what things she did, but like they purposely keep it continually light and like it's fine. I wish they had like actually like said, hey, you could experience this in Sonic Frontiers like Archie would, but you know they didn't have to for the basic context of the characters.
Yeah. So, like, you can
yeah, that's true. Sonic just gave a very brief telling of who and what Sage is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they can very easily do vice versa of that. Sorry, GX.
No. This is all good. This is not, I want to be clear. This is not this is not the actual full realization of them committing to a more consistent form of world building across their various media. It's not that, and I'm not going to pretend it's that, and I'm not going to get excited like it's that.
We're not there yet.
But this is the first time where I truly feel like that thing that I want out of it, that I want them to commit to, is actually realistic. That it actually is a thing that they could be working towards. That there is not necessarily the hard separation. Like, it's easy to say that the comics are canon, but you have to commit to that. Being canon is not about saying these exist in the same world with the same timeline. No, committing to that means that they both draw from and contribute to the same world building. And that...
This is why I hate when they say Sonic Prime is canon, because they don't feel like the same world.
Exactly. Sonic Prime, the only things that Sonic Prime draws from as a story is that Green Hill is an important place, though it changes the ways that that Green Hill is important from how the series in general treats it as such. And the relationship that Shadow and Sonic kind of have. They sort of build on a general sense of that. But generally speaking, there's nothing that Sonic Prime contributes to the world of Sonic, and there's not really anything that it takes from the world of Sonic.
Sonic Prime can exist perfectly fine as a canon thing within the Sonic game universe, but doesn't take advantage of that in any meaningful way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This feels like a willingness to commit to something. And I can be a curmudgeon about whatever, but at the same time, if they are making even a move towards what I think is good and healthy and proper for the type of series that they appear to want to make, then I certainly want to champion that. And I think being able to give these characters a voice, being able to put these characters in something narrative where they are part of a story that isn't isolated to the comics is a pretty important step. And
between this and CrossWorlds, it does feel like they have hit a major milestone.
Yes.
But and now that they have voices, it will be much easier to include them in video games and other video games in a smaller capacity. Hey, you can stick them in Dream Team now because you have people who can do grunts and little voice lines for them.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
My expectation is honestly for the sake of logistical convenience, I would be surprised if they have entirely unique voice actors. I am fully expecting. Well, I shouldn't say I'm fully expecting. I am expecting to a high probability that it will probably be a voice from the existing cast for each of them.
That would not surprise me too much.
Because even as much as I'm excited from this, they are not top tier cast yet. Who knows? Maybe they will get there one day. But right now, they have not been positioned as top tier cast, and you could probably, much in the same way that Roger Craig Smith does both Sonic and Omega, much in the same way that Colleen O'Shaughnessy does Tails and Charmy, how Big's voice actor, who I forget he is, but he's both big. He is both big and he is Dodonpa. Sometimes you just, you can't hire every voice actor.
And that makes a lot of sense because voice actors are by their very profession versatile. They can do multiple voices.
Yeah.
In Sonic Boom, oh my god.
How many of
Mike Pollock did a dozen different voices in that show.
Oh yeah. How many Puyo Tetris lines did they get from people that were probably just available because they have also been doing Persona work?
Right.
So Kyle Hebert does Big the Cat.
Thank you. I keep forgetting. This is the second time in a week that I have forgot his name, and I apologize, Kyle. It's not a name that I've familiarized myself with so far, so yeah. But yeah, this legitimately excites me. As someone who doesn't purely think of oh, I'm excited for the thing in front of me, but always tries to kind of dig through the tea leaves and figure out, like, okay, if they're doing this, that means their head is here with this type of thing. Like, this tells me interesting things about a potential future of the franchise that I haven't necessarily gotten from things like Frontiers, that I wouldn't necessarily give a degree of credence to purely through CrossWorlds.
This does kind of feel like they're building up to something like if something bigger with these characters, because it's all just feels like it's starting to like combine into a bigger presence
like
for them.
my dream is still, hey, we take some time. Like, at this point, I don't even think they need to do a full time skip, although, you know, it's not, it would be nice if they did, because they're definitely seeding stuff with narrative stuff like this and the comics, where you could just establish a place and be able to populate it with characters that, if you know the characters, that's great. If you don't know the characters, maybe they're just quest givers and NPCs, and you don't really need to know all of their backstory. Like, we don't need to play as Lanolin to have Lanolin be a quest giver. Lanolin makes a lot of sense as a quest giver.
Right.
Like Lanolin, they just say, hey, they just establish her, who she is, in like a sentence.
If you even do that, or like just put in like a character profile, and then you just understand, it's like, hey, go see this character, they're going to be the quest giver, and then you go to them and they're a quest giver. And if you want to bring up the Sonic glossary, you could say, like, oh, she had this role in the Resistance after Eggman took over the world, and
she
after
ran the Diamond Cutters for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and if you want that degree of lore, you probably could have that degree of lore. And if you don't care, then, you know, just don't make it a big part of it. You can go to the comics for that.
So, one final piece of news for the Chaotix files is that Chris Hernandez, the lore master, is encouraging people to watch it and listen to it via official channels, because they want to do more things like this.
I believe it.
And when I first heard about this, I thought it was just like going to be like a little free project they were putting together for the 35th anniversary. But according to you, like, you told me that no, like, this thing has ads and stuff, which means that it is making money, right?
So yeah, they have partnered.
Well, isn't it? I'm sorry, isn't it for the 30th Chaotix 30th anniversary, or was that last year?
This is for that was last year. This is for the 35th Sonic anniversary.
So they are aligning it with with Sonic Series 35th anniversary. Obviously, they could do this without it being an anniversary project very easily. There's nothing in here that really celebrates Sonic as a series 35th anniversary. It's just like, you know, having projects align like that. They probably... So, hey. SEGA gives the Sonic brand management team a certain amount of money to promote Sonic as a brand. This is how we get projects like the murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, which they can give away as a promotional thing, because it's not necessarily selling a product that you can pay for. It's selling awareness of Sonic the Hedgehog. And
I kind of assume this was something along the lines of that.
Yes, that's generally speaking what I think it is. Now, I don't know how much it would actually make, because I don't know the economics of podcasts. Despite being a podcaster, I have grown up in the era where you do a podcast because people like having conversations, and worrying about the economics of it or making it a job was never a realistic thing. But they are partnering with a podcast distributor called Realm. Realm, by and large, is handling like ads and podcast platform management. So, like, hey, if you wanted this on Spotify, I think Realm is making sure it's on Spotify. They're probably making sure that the files are all ready and available. And, like, hey, if you are listening through just a download, they are putting in ads in it. So, like, hey, you're gonna get to hear about Mint Mobile as you're listening to this. It's the reality we live in podcasts. But To a degree, yeah. It might make some money. It probably will not completely make all of its money. I can't imagine it will be fully profitable, knowing what I know about what you should be paying voice actors.
Yeah,
But
but this, but like I don't know, like this does feel like something that must have some kind of budget, and
yeah,
and according to Chris, like the views on the podcast apps and YouTube's are like very important, and like if this does well enough, they will probably make more going forward, potentially like under the Sonic Presents line or brand, which like that's a perfectly fine way of doing, I guess, character spin-offs. I guess makes sense. And but when this does feel like something that they could definitely make more of in the same way as the like the animated promotions that they do with every game now.
yeah. Like it's it's probably a little bit more straightforward than any sort of animation thing. Like the only thing that I think would be easier to put together would be a Tails tube, and that's purely because of the difference in length between them. These are chunky episodes. These are half-hour episodes.
Like I figured they were going to be like 10 minutes each, but no, they're like 25 minutes.
It's the kind of thing that makes like the one thing I'm very curious about is like I don't think they announced how long this series is going to be.
They haven't, no.
So, yeah, but yeah, I have almost nothing but positive things to say about it. So, what does that tell you?
And I'm hoping we do get more of the, especially if they're going to focus on other characters.
Yeah, you know what? We know the thing that I've been itching for the longest time. What is the thing that
Shadow story?
Sure.
Oh, gosh.
What is the one thing that you have been wanting, primarily out of IDW, since IDW's comics inception?
A Sonic universe.
Yup.
This would be a great way to do that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of angles that you could take with it. Like and then they have. Like they legitimately have done that through different means. Like we have the Tales series that they continue to go through. We have a Chaotix series that we continue to enjoy. I'm trying to think of who else could reasonably carry something, though.
Shadow? Rouge?
Shadow can't carry something.
Shadow can definitely carry something.
Shadow can't carry anything that has dialogue.
And of course, Silver and Blaze as a duo could probably carry something.
Okay, guys, I'd like to eat dinner before 10 o'clock, so can we move on to the next?
Sure.
Yes. So moving on to Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, we got Pac-Man in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds.
We got Pac-Man,
and definitely like probably the best race course we've had.
Oh yeah, I mean, in comparison for something that's in connection to the recent Pac-Man World 2, it's absolutely perfect because you are literally racing through the hub world of Pac-Man World 2.
And then going into the maze.
And then absolutely going into the original maze and following little 8-bit Pac-Man around that.
And what really caught me off guard, is how the maze is randomized.
Is it? I thought it was just different. I thought it was just different between lap 1 and lap 3.
It seems like I don't know. It felt, maybe I'm wrong, but it feels to me like the turns change every single time.
Do you mean the way you follow Pac-Man may be different?
Yeah, the ways that are blocked off versus not blocked off.
I'll have to investigate that because I thought it was consistent, but yeah,
I've been unable to learn that course in the same way as I normally would, and like sometimes like the final Pac-Man exit is on one side or the other side. But
I know the ghost positions can be a real SOB sometimes.
Yes, they are.
It's a weird course. Like it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is
That is a fun one.
at high speeds, making some of those really incredibly sharp 90-degree turns, even if you completely lay off the gas, feels impossible sometimes. It is. You can do some really insane things on boost-based vehicles.
Yeah. I guess know that, like, for me, this is kind of a return to form after I found the SpongeBob course to be a little underwhelming. And it's really refreshing just having a complete Grand Prix for the DLC courses now.
Oh, sure. Now we get to enjoy having the inaccessible one where coming soon Mega Man is just going to sit.
Yep. And I also and the Pac car is cool. The Pac-Man is a very nice model. And he's like, thankfully they are some of the some of the characters that work really well without voice acting.
Yeah, like
Hey,
makes
they
the
get
Pac-Man
them good
sounds.
voice acting, so yeah, just that's all they
Man,
need.
I would comment on the festival, but I barely remember it now. I guess no, it's the first one in a while where I failed to get the final title card.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was some stuff I was just too busy with, and I'm like, oh, I hope at least I can maybe play it Sunday night. No, it's Sunday late afternoon that it stopped. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I was trying to get the ghost, the rest of the ghost decals for my car, and
I
it's
am
too late.
thankful I was able to like get all those in like the last 40 minutes of the festival.
I'm hoping with those festival things that kind of stuff rolls around again.
They've got to rewind them. Like I would be very surprised if they did not rewind them at some point.
It is the festival that I had put the most amount of time in and got the most rewards from out of, but I also still did not make it to the very end of the rewards.
Really?
Like,
I thought if you do that for anything, it would be Pac-Man.
It just feels like it's too much for me. Like, I'm not that big of an online player to begin with, and even now I'm not playing that much online, so
I will say my nitpick about that festival is the Pac-Man course just was the only course coming up that everyone was picking every time.
Well, that's how it is with all the festivals. Like the DLC festival is always one of the ones that are selectable. So any final thoughts on that?
It's good. I like Pac-Man. I'm very happy with how they did a Pac-Man. They did a very good Pac-Man.
No, it's the complete chapter 1 of the DLC, the season pass stuff.
Yeah.
So moving on, since we last adjourned, I got delayed to February, so we only have Pac-Man to talk about. But we did just get a date for AiAi today, February 11th, with his festival following, and Tangle and Whisper will be coming February 25th. So not much to say about them beyond, well, like we're getting a lot of characters.
You already know,
month, I guess.
Yeah, we did talk about them before, so not much else to say.
SEGA did open a support line for the Werehog because I know Shigs, you got the Switch 2 version as well, right?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have one. I got a cheap, copy from Amazon when the Christmas sales were going on, and mine came with the code. So I had no problem getting the Werehog. Everybody else.
Well, I got the digital copy. And I had to directly contact Sega's support in order to finally get my Werehog DLC like a month after the game came out. And as someone who has like been denied, was also denied the Werehog DLC with the review copy, that was just a very frustrating experience for me. But I finally got him, and I got to play as him, and I did a whole bunch of time trials with the Werehog, and I do love playing as the Werehog. It's so cool. And Blue Star also available for all of us. Which is again nice for Switch 2 players specifically. So we Sega also celebrated the Puyo Puyo 35th anniversary with a vehicle decal.
It seems weird to me, like, so if you think of it in terms of, okay, Sega franchises that they are sort of actively engaged with, Puyo feels like it could stand to be in some of this crossover stuff and has never really been. The only time there has really been a sort of big Sega crossover game that Puyo was in was Sega Superstars Tennis. And the original Sega Superstars with iToy.
But I think those were just like mini games, right?
But like there's absolutely room for, like, hey, why not put Arl or Ringo or whatever or Amity in a car or something?
Not a lot of people know this, but like Puyo Puyo used to be like a proper RPG series.
Yeah.
So like this thing does have characters.
Oh, it has so many characters.
Too many characters for a puzzle game.
Last I checked, that awful mobile game that I played in 2022, Puyo Puyo Quest, that was like Japanese only gotcha puzzle and dragon ripoff, had 2,500 character and character variants.
Good God.
There's a lot of characters in this series. There's too many characters. But you could...
So yeah, they could easily put... man, I forgot the name of the first one. Arl or Arity in this. Like
Amity.
Amity.
Yeah.
The girl with the pink hair, right?
The one from Puyo Puyo Fever.
Yeah. So like maybe like they just couldn't get things to line up properly, and we'll get some more characters later. But
we don't know. We don't know their plans. Like it might not be. I'm purely saying, of the franchises that they still seem somewhat invested in, like, we got someone from the Like a Dragon series. We got the Hatsune Miku, which they are quite invested in. Like, what else?
And Persona.
We got someone from Persona. Like, Knights is much more retro. We know we have, like, 6 more Sega crossover characters in the free track, and, like, unless a lot of them are going to be, like, extra retro, what else do we have? Like, maybe we might get something for Crazy Taxi or Jet Set Radio for the ways that they plan on reviving those franchises, but, like, Puyo's one of them. You could make me happy and give me a 2-point character.
Yeah, I don't know if this is on our news thing, but they were mentioning of possibly getting Sonic characters outside of the main canon, but I don't know how.
Technically, what Takashi Iizuka was asked about including Sonic characters outside of the main canon, specifically, like I know that Sonic Boom and Sonic's and Saturday Morning Sonic cartoons were both mentioned. But like what he responded with was, there's a lot of passion around the extended Sonic universe, and we're open to including the deep cut characters if the opportunity feels right.
There's a lot. There's a lot of PR talk in that. Yes, there's a lot of PR talk. I want to highlight. I want to break this down.
That's why I say it's like a grain of salt thing. I'm not expecting too much out of that.
But I'm specifically doing this for the sake of the audience because of the ways that people have reacted to this statement and have overreacted on both ends. Some people incredibly excited, like, they could do that! And other people saying, like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. And I want to emphasize, he said nothing. He said absolutely nothing, which is the goal of PR. He cannot confirm nor deny anything that he is not authorized to confirm or deny. So he said something that is so mealy-mouthed that you could, be happy of it in the idea space.
Well, like I am indeed happy that he said that, hey, we'll include some deep cut characters. We could include some deep cut characters, whatever that means. Or we're open to it, I mean.
The only thing he confirmed is that he is not explicitly ruling it out. What he said was, very specifically, we are open to including deep cut characters if the opportunity feels right. That is a big stipulation. That is a massive stipulation that gives you all the room in the world to say what is and it doesn't go in is up to whatever discretion and whatever reasons we want to. Because opportunity feeling right is so incredibly subjective that you can interpret it in whatever way you want. There is no falsifiability in this statement.
That's at least better than outright no.
Sure, but I don't think it's meaningfully better. Like, it's better that he didn't kick the interviewer in the nuts, sure, but I don't think it's any meaningfully better than that. Did we lose you?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Like, I just want to pour cold water on people because, like, no, he didn't say...
You love pulling cold water on people, man.
It's not
you
that
love it.
It's not that I love it. It's just that people need to hear it. People need to have an understanding of, like, what PR talk is and how these companies behave. And just because you want a thing to be true does not make it true. There's ways that companies act, and the ways that they act is like a company, and it doesn't mean that they're being malicious. It doesn't mean that you have to be cynical about it. It just means you have to understand what they actually are saying, not what they kind of are leaving open into a general space that you can inject interpretation into.
Well, fingers crossed for Sticks.
Look, I'd love Sticks. Sticks would be great. Sticks is like one of the more realistic options that you could go with. I would believe Sticks way before I would believe them doing anything with the Freedom Fighters in this.
So moving on to mobile. So Sonic Blitz is getting delisted on February 16th. It's not canceled, but like its soft launch has been ended, I guess.
Yeah. People have been making the Rumble comparisons. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I think that
Rumble had a proper release window that they like missed multiple times. This has just kind of been, in some test markets.
Yeah, this is just in a test phase. This is nothing right now.
Yeah. Like they have never marketed Blitz at any point, and Blitz has never been reasonably finished. They went through huge gameplay revisions to what the very game of it was multiple times across.
Like, I'd argue they've made it worse.
I
do legitimately appreciate the preview, though, and I do hope they do this with more games like it. But man, like, I admit, I did think when they first released it that was like months away, but no, it was not. So like,
what do you see as okay. My attitude is, I'm legitimately suspicious that this thing will never actually see full release. What are your takes on it?
I mean, I legitimately don't know. Like, I think it could go either way. I feel like it's still a perfectly fine game to release, but maybe it's not worth the investment for Sega. But like, I don't know. I guess kind of feel like they have been trying to find find like the sweet spot for this game, like a voice for it, and they like did not find it while it was in testing markets, and so they like, this does feel like the kind of thing you want to do if you want to significantly rework the game without having to constantly release new builds. Because this has kind of been barely getting any updates or changes since like October.
Shakes, you play.
Like, we haven't had a single new character.
So you play more free-to-play games than both of us combined,
right? I don't feel this is going anywhere.
Yeah, my attitude is like, okay, this game or Marvel Snap, which are you going for?
Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
Just automatically, I've played Marvel Snap. Marvel Snap's a better game without even having touched this one. Just from watching it.
That's my biggest concern is like if someone like Shigs who like isn't gonna who like you're absolutely a big Sonic fan. If it isn't doing it for you and in a way that like a Marvel Snap would, it's like I just question who is this game for? Because they can't pull people away from their existing trading card games. And I can tell you the deep cut Sonic characters that they want to put in there, the only people that's going to attract are like the weirdos who are like, they're putting freedom fighters in. They're definitely gonna be in because they're gonna be like they're gonna be
nothing.
One of those weirdos.
Sorry, but they're not coming back.
No, they're not. Of course they aren't.
Be quiet, you're both wrong.
They were never people acting like, oh, they killed the freedom. Like, no, they were never in there. Do not tell me for a second that the freedom fighters were in there. You just made some crap up and couldn't confirm it because it was a region-locked experience. You have no idea what you're talking about if you're saying that the freedom fighters were in there.
They were in the code. You can't deny that.
There were references in the code in ways that were profoundly non-committal.
So... moving on to Sonic Rumble Season 3, I admit I don't have anything to say here because I've not touched this. Like, I have not even looked at the updates. I just know Dodonpa is playable, and that makes me happy.
And he does it, and he's free. You don't have to buy a darn thing.
Just, really? Completely
just
free?
Play the missions for a while. Even just like 2 days, about 2 hours worth of missions, maybe, and you've got Dodonpa.
I guess I gotta go back to this game to do that. Then I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's like Godzilla. He's pretty much free. He's just play a bunch of missions and the
season headliner basically.
So like Dodonpa, is he in his floaty dealy or is he like?
Yeah, he's in his floaty dealy.
Okay, I was wondering.
You gotta be selective on the emotes because some of them just don't look right on him without it.
You know what? I think the only time I've ever seen Dodonpa without it is, doesn't the plush have him outside of it?
Yeah, the plush is just him. No
That's
floaty
the only thing I can think of what might show his feet, because I can't think of anywhere else where they've actually shown him in full beyond that. Have they?
There must be something because the plush referenced something.
Yeah, probably.
And in addition to him, we also have Mecha Sonic Mark II playable for the first time via Sonic Speak Simulator, which I have not looked into this at all either. But I don't know if it's free. That might get me to play Speak Simulator for a little bit. I don't know. I have to see how much effort it requires.
But why would you?
The novelty.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that is probably the one excuse that I would accept from you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And the final, like, I guess, big piece of mobile news is a rumor, and that is Sonic X Fortnite is apparently Sonic is getting like another Fortnite crossover.
Well,
and
this is rumored.
Yeah. But it's rumored by like really reliable Fortnite people.
Okay. Yeah. But I just wanted to emphasize
it's not confirmed. I can now see how it's possible where it was not before.
In what way?
Well, okay, in two ways. Okay, so for somebody who's still playing Fortnite, although I barely touched this current season, I'm only like halfway through the main passes, and it's almost over because just none of the characters really interest me too much.
Do you think Sonic's going to be a pet? Is that the thing you're going for?
So yeah, there's two things. There's sidekicks who aren't necessarily pets, like
Oh, okay.
SpongeBob is in the game and he's a sidekick, and basically they are like pets though. They could just run around, say hi. You can with SpongeBob, I think you can high five him or something. And
like,
to the other players, they're
it's like you got your own personal Clippy that doesn't really engage with the world.
You got your own little buddy that's hanging around with you.
Well, according to
kind
the
of
leaker,
an imaginary friend that's invisible to everybody else.
According to the leaker, it will be skins, not pets.
Well, anyway, the other way is that both in South Park and The Simpsons, they have the characters as playable characters, but they're in like mech suits.
Oh my god, like Knuckles' Lego mech suit.
Yeah, they could have Knuckles' Lego mech suit. Bart is in a mech suit in the Simpsons one, and
oh man,
all the kids in South Park are in like different mech suits.
Because that's
how they're playable.
Because realistically, that's what they have to do to make those characters conform to the skeletal structure of their character designs.
Imagine their hitbox is just a regular skeleton model, and you have to have it like that.
If this is how they do it, they need to give us the child characters. I need Cream and Charmy in killer mech suits.
I just say, like, put Mecha Sonic Mark II in that. Have that be the thing.
Yeah, they could do that.
And well, yeah, Cream
you can give that thing a gun.
Cream and Cheese shooting Uzis. Sure.
But like I have been like on the verge of playing some Fortnite for like 2 months now, so maybe it's time I finally just did it, so that I'm not caught completely flat-footed when this finally happens. If we actually like get legit Sonic skins, because that would make me want to do it.
I will not. I will not if they do Sonic skins. I will not for this. I don't really have particular interest in, if I play Fortnite, it won't be to put any money into it. It might just be to be like, okay, I've had the experience of playing Fortnite, and that's it.
I just want to try it out mostly, but I will spend money for Sonic if it's not too exorbitant. So game news. We got a couple Sonic Game Gear games coming to Yakuza Kiwami 3. Specifically Sonic Chaos and Sonic Drift, alongside a bunch of other Game Gear games. I really wish they'd just give us a freaking collection already, but at the very least,
yeah.
At the very least, like, the Sonic games we had in Sonic Origins. But man, like, I admit, what I care more about is Fantasy Zone Gear and GG Shinobi and stuff like that. Like, there's a pretty decent list in this. Oh, and we're getting Pac-Man Mappy. Oh yeah, and a former SEGA employee gave us a little bit of insight on what it was like working with Nintendo. Specifically, he gave us an anecdote about how they accidentally put Sonic's foot in front of Sonic's foot in front of Mario's in some Mario and Sonic art. And Nintendo sent them a note saying that no, Mario has to be in front. That is the priority.
I thought they had to be
the priority.
I thought they had to be at the same level.
No, in this particular instance, it may have been. I remember saying the specific quote was, seniority. Oh right, sure. No, sorry, that was something else.
That was their name that was their name format.
Yeah, but this whole story, Hasegawa confirmed that they made the change when. Oh wait, no. Damn it! Oh yes, there was one small error, and Sonic's foot was in front of Mario's, and Nintendo demanded us to change the priority. Was what they said.
Sure.
Which, I mean, like, yeah, like Mario is the top dog. Like Sega did what was glib about, oh yeah, Mario's the old man. That's why his name gets to be on top. But Mario's the bigger franchise, obviously.
Yeah.
so he gets to have the top billing.
People seemed incensed about that. I'm just like, no, in brand management, that's just part of brand management. Like, yeah,
it is.
Like, hey, Sega's making these games. Like, they have to follow through with, like, no, they can't mistreat Mario. Nintendo's doing them a solid to have this game exist. Like, follow the rules reasonably.
They need to have a cutscene where Sonic bullies Mario and beats him in a race. So for merch, Tikal and Werehog are getting Jack's Pacific figures as part of Sonic's 35th anniversary as part of their Sonic 35th anniversary branding line. And man, it is
definitely the bigger news on between those two, because Werehog's been out before, at least in a 4-pack or so.
Yeah, like it is weird seeing Tikal getting merchandised still. Like, honest, like with Great Eastern Entertainment, like their whole thing is like deep cut, so it makes sense. But Tikal, that is obscure.
I'm guessing looks like Werehog's in the 2.5-inch figure line. Is that it?
Yeah, I believe part of the news was that it was a different size.
That's a new format for him.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, Jack Specific is looking to have waves of different things. They want things for collectors. Like, it's the eternal complaint that we've had is like, they make the things that are the chase things for collectors that nobody will ever be able to find unless you, I don't know, live in Canada or something.
I keep checking my local Walmart, my local Target. I never see this stuff. Like, I will buy the Tikal figure if I see it, Jack Specific, but you have to actually ship it to the East Coast.
Nope, they will not, and Walmart has no interest in giving you what you want. They will shove it in some weird obscure store that will never buy it because they're weird obscure Sonic characters that I don't know that weird old Sonic fans like, and that's kind of it.
Man, we got freaking Altered Beast, but we never got Tangle.
Yeah.
But
well,
in
I
any
think
case,
we will get Tangle. I think it's this weird thing of we have the the Metal Virus Sonic now, even though he was
we don't really have the metal
a year ago.
Yeah, we don't really have it. I think he's being clearanced is the problem.
Well, no, now he's being clearanced. Suddenly he's showing up in every freaking Walmart store.
Yeah.
Where he didn't show up before.
What happened to the distribution model here?
I think a lot of these exclusive things went to Canada first, and maybe that's happening. Maybe we will get Tangled in like Christmas time this year. Suddenly,
like I assume this stuff was hitting the West Coast, but you didn't get it either.
No, I never seen Tangled here at all.
So yeah, maybe it was just Canada. Man, I gotta go up there. Well, I hope that's the case, and I hope we get Tangled because I will buy that thing the moment I see it.
I mean, the real problem is like, if the death of Toys R Us kind of ruined any real ability to get, for actual toy collecting or acquiring, like that completely ruined the market, because that puts you in a position where Walmart does have much more leverage, that like they can get the exclusives, and Walmart's a terrible place to give exclusives to because they don't care. They don't care about their employees, they don't care about their customers. Like, it's the worst possible routine, and like they don't have a lot of motivation. They have a motivation to get the deals, they just don't have a motivation to really execute on them.
So moving on to the other piece of merch news we've got is this DCX Sonic stuff continues to drip out. This time we have a sticker book that gives us our first decent look at Starfire Blaze and Aquaman Big. And like, I don't know, Aquaman Big is just big, but like with Aquaman's trident and his like Super Friends costume. At least I think that's Super Friends. Definitely isn't Justice League because he's not shirtless. But Blaze Starfire is interesting because, as I'm sure we know, Starfire has always been dressed at least a little skimpy, extremely skimpy in the comics. But in this, it's like, I don't know, a full body suit or something, which makes.
To be fair.
This is actually the most one of the most clothed Sonic characters.
Only know Starfire outside of like animated things. In the comics, Starfire's a total slut.
Yes. Like, I remember that DC 52 story. I remember when my mom bought my nieces a Starfire, a Teen Titans thing, and she had to like and like she couldn't give it to them because Starfire was dressed the way she was,
Provocative,
because it was
we'll
the
say.
comic book designs. It wasn't the cartoon designs. But in any case,
George
so
Perez created her, and I think half the time it's because he wanted to draw her naked. Sometimes he'd do that at conventions and stuff for fans.
But like, I don't know, Blaze does kind of feel like the biggest deviation from like any popular iteration of Starfire. But I guess it's not surprising. I can't even imagine Blaze with like a bare midriff. So
Blaze
it's just weird.
Blaze is among the most clothed characters.
No, she's the classy one. She's the princess. She's the most modest.
Like she is the exact opposite of comic book Starfire.
Bellabonga in chat asks, who should dress up as Raven? Who's our Raven?
Whisper, I guess.
I would say
that's actually a pretty good choice.
I would say Wave.
Wave the Swallow.
Yeah.
Wave the Swallow as a Raven.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that could work.
Like she's the mechanic. You can interpret that as maybe into a conjurer of sorts.
I think you're really stretching that.
I'm trying to think of like who else who is magic in the Sonic universe, because there aren't that many characters.
Well, according to SEGA, magic doesn't exist in the Sonic universe.
Bull crap.
So
oh my God, it's this one magician girl that's in DC all the time. I'm forgetting my name. I'm blanking out on her name right now. Zatanna.
Yes,
I was gonna say Titana, and I realized that's not right. But I was close. Zatanna, yeah.
Wave would be a good Zatanna.
Yeah, there's no one with Raven's power or Zatanna's power, but we at very least like have characters with somewhat similar personalities. So that
but it's not like Big has Aquaman's powers.
No, but like he's kind of the closest they have to a water character. So I'm sure he doesn't talk to fish, he catches them. All right. So
I want to hear those two. I want to hear those two interact. That's what I want.
Oh God! But which Aquaman? Like one of the
Batman Brave and the Bold Aquaman. The best Aquaman, Brave and the Bold Aquaman.
You know, come to think of it, I think that's the costume Biggs. I think that's closer to the kind of costume Biggs wearing. I guess sounds like Justice League. So moving on to Fandom. So like SEGA announced that a whole bunch of 35th anniversary and sort of teases, I guess, which among the things they did tease like would be Chaotix case files. But they also announced something called Sonic Rewind, which is like going to be this video series that like looks back on the Sonic franchise. Let's see. Oh yeah. There'll be digital content highlighting Sonic's evolution across the decades, is what it is. They also announced fan meetups and community gatherings, as well as, and of course, exclusive brand and retail partnerships. That's nothing new, but also live concerts, which I guess we did get our first announcement for that with the Crush 40 World Tour that Johnny announced. Which hoping that comes to somewhere close to my area, because we never got the Sonic Symphony.
People continue to have a weird relationship with like the suit, as if it was going to change everything. Like, I don't think it was going to. I'm
very glad it didn't. I admit this was like some Ken Penders.
No.
What's the word? Some Ken Penders trauma, where this is gonna, like, I don't know, mess some things up. But thankfully, no, they're still working together.
The stakes for that were a lot less high, we'll say.
Yeah. So like thankfully, but thankfully they did resolve it. They also, and another 35th anniversary thing that they did announce was the Sonic Spirit Week, which they're just going to use that to like highlight some fan stuff. I really wanted to like use this to like let my Archie Sonic freak flag fly. But I did not have time to do that, unfortunately. So, but not that they were going to retweet that anyway. I'm certain.
Nope. You keep trying to make them do something that they will not do.
Oh
and
no! This was not an effort. This was not an effort to make them do it. It was just me doing it. But I couldn't get around to it. So whatever. But they're like doing a bunch of things this week. They're highlighting cosplay collections. Ooh, I could do my Archie Sonic collection and art. Nothing that we're probably going to get too involved in. And finally, there is the Sonic Megamix Mania mod, which that is set to come out in 2 days. It is so Sonic Megamix was like a fan hack for like Sonic 1 that then got ported to the Sega CD, and that's the version that I'm most familiar with because I burned that to a CD like 15 years ago and played it on my real Sega CD. This was my first time ever doing something like that, so it's like a formative experience for me, sort of. um, but eventually that project did get canceled, and a new team took it over and essentially ported the whole thing to Sonic Mania, and that is like almost done in a couple of days. And it is like so like this is kind of like this really old fan project finally coming to some sort of completion. That's really cool.
Yeah. And
From
it's
what I
going to be a mod for Mania specifically.
Yes.
Hmm.
And from what I've played of it over the years, like it's a very well-made, fun Sonic project. The characters are all really cool. Like you've got Shadow and Mighty in this, and they've got their own moves and stuff. It's all really cool. I
I
take it
imagine
that
that's just for like PC mods and stuff, right?
Yeah, like we said, Sonic Mania. Like there is
Right.
a Sega CD version that exists, but that's not what's getting completed in 2 days.
Like more than
Um,
anything, I'm just impressed that you can do that that people have taken apart Sonic Mania so thoroughly that you could do that to it. It's the kind of thing where I wonder if you can even like run it through the standard mod loader, or if you actually have to use the Mania decompilation for it. Have they indicated as such either way?
No, not that. As far as I know, it's just a standard Sonic Mania mod.
Okay.
So moving on to our final category tonight, comics, specifically starting with Ken Penders and his Shadow Files. And with that, I
God.
do have to log off for just a second because my battery is dying. So I'm
Oh
switching
no,
to a
are you
different
leaving it to me to talk about Penders?
just for like 60
Oh
seconds.
Lord.
I'll be back very quickly. Go
God help
nuts.
us all. Okay, I'll go over the Ken Penders thing that he's doing yet again.
The laws don't seem to apply to him.
So Ken Penders has been on this thing of like doing Archie comic reprints, largely because I don't think anybody wants to deal with him. There's obviously anybody can look at this and think like, I don't think he has authorization to make the reprints that he has because he doesn't fully own the things that the IP that he wants to use. And very much true. And I think if he was put in position where like Sega can still feign ignorance. Like Sega's still in a position where like they can feign ignorance for a period of time as is reasonable.
They don't seem to care. They don't seem to care. Archie doesn't seem to care. They just okay.
Well,
he just printed out Scott Shaw's Sonic Days, and it's a reprint of the miniseries from 0 to 3, or is it 0 to 3, 0 to 4? I forget which. And then a Tales short story Scott Shaw did. The problem is these are issues that he had zero involvement in, but I'm guessing that Scott Shaw himself is getting the majority of the money for this, and he's just publishing it for him, for what I understand. But I still don't see how that ever works because it's all Sonic stuff. There's other people involved that made those issues that I don't think are seeing a dime, and I think that's going to be the same case with the Shadow Files. It's like that meme from Breaking Bad. He just can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah.
You know?
So I don't know what you guys have discussed so far. All I do know is that, from what I can gather, like, he does technically have the legal ability to reprint comics.
I don't see how that is, but
Did you change your microphone?
No,
Scott
I shouldn't have.
able to.
Are you farther away from it?
No, no. Okay, Oh, okay. I did change the thing a bit. Okay, am I better now?
I'm gonna bump you up on
You're
my
a lot
side.
worse. You're actually a lot worse than you originally were.
That doesn't make any sense.
You're just quieter. You're just quieter is the issue. I'm gonna bump your volume up on my end.
All right. Okay, if it's just quieter, then that should be fine.
Yeah, I can work with that. So,
okay.
But I think the issue... So, obviously, hey, like, the whole reprints thing is weird. The whole, like, it's weird. It's weird that he is reprinting things made by people that do not seem to be getting paid out of this.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't know how the whole thing with Ian Flynn is supposed to work. Like, he didn't contact him or anything. He's just doing it. So, like, is he going to just send him a check or what? How is that going to work?
I mean, the problem is, Ian Flynn knows
maybe
how
we
to
should
be...
go into detail exactly what the Shadow Chronicles thing is.
It's a collection of episodes that are specifically Shadow related, like around the Sonic Adventure 2 stories, and specifically it lists 98, 124, 125, 145 to 149, 157 to 159, and 166 and 167, as well as some stuff that I guess was previously unpublished that will now exist in comic form.
So, like, does he... I mean, I guess Shadow was the character he started obsessing over, like, right near the end of his run, with, like, some of those boring things he's ever written.
Yeah, well, like, that's... I mean, the problem... The criticism that I continue to have is, like, it never felt like he was ever that interested in writing a family or kids comic. It always felt like he wanted to write something that distinctly was not for family or kids.
He wanted to write the sci-fi comic, basically.
Yeah, he
Which,
wanted...
as a kid, I appreciated that, but...
But as an adult, where you kind of know what, like, maturity actually looks like, it just looks like, this seems, like, really weird and off-putting and puerile. I don't know. What I'm incensed about, and it's not necessarily the reprinting of the comics. I am frickin' incensed about his take on the cover. And,
oh yeah, where he just, like, traces over that shadow render.
Here's the other thing: the alternate cover. That's mostly his original art with a ridiculously giant eyeball and a super tiny nose for Shadow.
That gets cut off the screen.
Yeah, on the iris, he cut and pasted from the actual of Shadow from the actual Sonic 3, one of the Sonic 3 movie posters and stuff. The stuff in his eyes.
Oh my god, I'm seeing that now.
Yeah, he literally
Photoshop of his eye. Oh my god.
Yeah, he badly photoshopped that part of his eye, and I'm like, oh my god, can he not just do anything of his own art without having to copy and paste stuff?
You can see where he just, like, used some sort of thing that automatically removes the backgrounds, because it did it super roughly, and there's, like, this white spot in the middle of his iris.
Yeah, Then you look.
It's one thing if you're doing it for reference, but it's another thing where you just steal it and leave it there.
It gets more interesting here, because the other cover, the one of him standing in the city, he traced over the shadow. He did not trace over the city. That's just reusing the official art to the degree that, like, you can tell by the lighting in it. I'm gonna try to bring this up. On the screen here because it's amazing. It's amazing how just awful this stupid thing is. So a couple things that you will notice on it is, number one, any of the billboards that he replaced, the lighting does not match. They're just flat colors. However, on the left side, one of the billboards that contains a picture of Sonic was not replaced. It is still existing there. If you look at the details of it, you can tell he didn't
that's
just...
Sonic Adventure 2. That's Sonic Adventure 1 art.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. This is a Shadow the Hedgehog video game promo image. It wasn't used for like the game's full key art, but it was used for other things. It's just the image. If you look at the detail in the buildings, it's just the image. It's not a redraw of the image. It's just the image. If you look at around where he would be holding the gun, suddenly the image gets a lot blurrier. I wonder why. I wonder why it would be blurrier here when I can see extreme detail on some of the buildings in the background. It's utter nonsense.
Legit just a bad Photoshop.
Like, even if he were to, like, even if this was working art, the problem is still there that, like, there's no greater freaking sin in the world of comics than being a tracer.
Yeah,
that's one of the worst things you can do. And
like there's that one guy that's absolutely infamous for tracing porn.
Yeah,
for his covers.
I mean, the history
something land.
The history of comics is littered with people who are infamous tracers, and they all have terrible legacies. Like, you just simply don't do that. Why would you do that? There's no point in it except for extreme laziness. Like, I am reticent to invoke the word lazy in anything involving Sonic, because even seemingly simple projects usually require an incredible amount of effort to get forward. This is an instance where it is profoundly lazy.
Well, like I said, he very clearly just ran that through a background remover editor. Like, I have used those. I have seen those. I have seen how rough they are. And it's like, any artist worth his salt could do that manually. And he just definitely did not.
You could...
he just
There are Sonic fan artists who would line up to make new art for an Archie reprint series.
And I was gonna bring that up, like a fan-led project would blow this out of the water.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's just an ego thing that it's like, no, I still have to make the art even if it's not my art. It's bizarre. It's unsettling.
I feel like it's got to be at least just in part just him being cheap.
Yeah, it's
because there is an open question of how many of these he's even going to sell, and whether or not. And I'm still not 100% confident I'm still not 100% confident in this thing's legality.
It doesn't seem to matter. I mean, the whole, like I was saying about the whole Scott Shaw thing, he was using original, Archie reprints. Scott Shaw, of course, heavily involved doing the covers. I've got to imagine that if this isn't Ken Penders having nothing to do with any of those issues and still printing the book.
And most importantly, he doesn't own the IP. Like, he doesn't own. Like, he can lay claim to a lot of things. He can't lay claim to the character of Shadow. There's no circumstance where he can.
Yeah, I've got to imagine that, if this is illegal, there is a point at which he can cross a line that will get the Sega lawyers involved, and he is just trying to avoid that.
Or is he trying to evoke it? It sometimes feels like he's trying to get some sort of legal provocation, but I don't see a world in which he succeeds in court for something like that.
Like, especially since like Sonic is bigger now, SEGA has more money now.
Yeah, it was the one thing when he was wanting the rights to his characters with Archie, just outright printing Sonic and Shadow books.
Like, a dream for me is them just like utterly taking him to the cleaners at court and getting their stuff back. But like, that's never gonna happen.
Like I said, they can feign ignorance for a while if they just simply do not want to deal with him. But if this continues, they will have to protect their trademark and actually enforce it. Like, they've done so before with like YouTube and Sonic Boom, where like they've as politely as possible have tried to say like, hey, we want to we know we have to enforce this. We are letting you know, we are giving you an opportunity to take this down on your own, but we will start enforcing our rights in regard to these full Sonic Boom episode uploads.
Yeah. And Sonic Boom is a cartoon that's up everywhere anyway. I mean, I think you can watch it for free on YouTube without it being from somebody else's channel, but an official channel.
You can, oddly enough, watch most Sonic cartoons for free legally.
Yeah. A lot of the stuff like went out by N Circle or Cookie Jar or whatever it's considered at this point. You can, I guess, DHX. DHX? Is that it?
I don't know what DHX
is. The company that owns the rights now. They have put a lot of their like back catalog stuff on YouTube, so you can. And then TMS absolutely has as well. So, but they have a claim to actually do it.
But in any case, I don't know. We still don't like fully know the legality of all this. Hopefully, one day we'll like get something will shed more light on it all. But
you know who we do know the legality of? We know the legality of Sage.
Yes, we do. And she made her debut in issue 84 of IDW, which came out just today. And I did read, and it's the first one in a couple of months that I have really enjoyed. It is everything that I was kind of hoping for this storyline. Now, I know Shiggs read it. Did you read it?
Me?
GX.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh, I'm still on my head. Like, I will tell you, the prospect of Tangle and Whisper getting voices is kind of infused me with a desire to read more, but there's going to be a point where I have a job again and I will have income, and it will be way easier to justify spending like a couple bucks in order to have entertainment again.
Okay. Well, in any case, so the whole premise of this story arc is Belle, the daughter, the robot daughter of Mr. Tinkerer, aka Eggman, when he lost his marbles for a bit, is tasked with having to go find Metal Sonic. And Eggman tries to force her to do that.
Basically, Metal Sonic is malfunctioning, is gone offline, and Eggman's not sure why.
And so he wants to send Belle, and Belle wants to makes him let her take Sonic, and then he sends Sage after the both of them, and so we have like a Sonic Belle Sage adventure, and like this, it's really cool because like we have Belle like being extremely passive aggressive towards Sage.
Which, once Belle realizes that Sage is Eggman's daughter, and she keeps using daughter and Belle keeps using daughter in quotation marks. She gets kind of pissed. Yeah.
And it's like, this is a relationship she kind of wanted with, I guess, Mr. Tinkerer, which she was deprived, and now like Sage has that, and like and so like we got this like cool little sibling relationship going on between them that is extremely unique for the Sonic franchise, and leads to some really cool interactions between them.
Like Sage is in a very interesting position because like even if you compare it to everything else, like he does not treat any of his other creations to the degree that he does treat Sage, and I don't know if it's because she is the most humanoid, or if because she is so advanced and was so successful in like the events of Sonic Frontiers and like what she was, heavy air quotes, accidentally created to do, but it's a relationship that we don't get.
It feels implied in this that like it's a very like there is like some love in that relationship between Eggman and Sage, and like one early line we get from Eggman in this is like is to Sage is, if you're in danger, retreat to safety, which he never says to any of his creations. But
like we've had years of Eggman and or Robotnik having various forms of lackeys that do not have any that he has absolutely no regard for whatsoever.
No,
including Orbot and Cubot.
And like, that's something that Evan Stanley and Ian Flynn make sure to like put front and center in this to like show that, hey, their relationship is different. And through this we also get to see a different side of Belle. And through that we then also get, Sage is really well written in this. Like she is like incredibly frustrated by these two people that she has to deal with, where she just wants to accomplish her mission.
God, you have to sleep, you get cold. Yeah. You can't calculate every single plot output on how we can get by on this.
That's honestly, it's kind of one of the big motivating factors to me kind of being like, I kind of want to get back into this, is the fact that I think Belle is just whole cloth a really good character. Like in a lot of ways, she is sort of the bunny surrogate of IDW, where like she has the dual elements of it, where like she has both the connection to Eggman and the connection, a part of it that she had, that kind of has the worry of where her own alliance, if she has control of where her own alliances fall, and getting to have the complicated relationship between her and just Eggman just continued to put on full display. Building an arc around that just really does sound enticing.
And this is the best Belle has been in a long time, if honestly, potentially ever. Like this does feel like one of those arcs that really takes advantage of everything about her as a character that should make her interesting. That I feel like some other arcs have kind of failed to. But eventually, we do have Metal Sonic come in, and he has been taken over by essentially the big baddie that they have been building up for a few issues now.
Zavik.
He has like this,
right? Zavik, definitely Zavik.
No, but I do have a feeling I might know who this is.
Yeah, which we'll get to that in just a second. And like Metal Sonic like has this, I don't know, this thing over part of his eye, which I like this physical modification to his head that seems to have like changed his color and changed his programming and all that stuff. So I don't know, like Metal Sonic has definitely been taken over by something. And I was briefly afraid that the big bad guy was going to be Metal Sonic, but like, I don't know, taken over by someone else. But no, he is thankfully just the lackey. And at the very end of this issue, we do get we do get the bad guy talking, and it does really feel like we are very close to that reveal. And
turns out it's Naugus. Ooh!
Oh, God, I wish. Shiggs, who do you think it is?
I think it's because of the scratchy voice, the wobbly word balloons and everything. Somebody was just barely hanging on. I think Dr.
You think it's Starline?
I think it's Dr. Starline back.
Yes, that was my thought as well. Because like I don't know, like one of the first big bits of iconography we got in this was a coffin with the Chaos Emeralds in it, and so like this does feel like it's like a character who is like either undead or we thought was dead or was close to death, and like he's got like these monitors everywhere at the end where he's watching all these characters, including Kit and Surge, and now one thing
okay,
that
so I want to know
yeah.
then, if it is, how would you feel about that sort of non-finality of him getting to return?
I would be very happy because I kind of felt like he had more to do, if I'm being honest. Like, I really liked him as a villain. I was kind of surprised when they killed him off. And, like, for me, the top thing was, oh, hey, big status quo shift. And if he comes back, like, I don't know, deformed or whatever, that is still another big status quo shift for him and a new potential direction for him as well that keeps him in the picture while doing something new with him,
So
which
what
I
A little
suspect
more
that's why they killed him
insane
off to begin
even than
with.
he was before.
So what I'm hearing is, if he has a return, though, that it should be a return with some degree of consequence, that we can't return, that it should not return to the actual status quo.
I would be very surprised given the state of the word balloons and everything. Like, this does seem like if it's him, it's a very different version of him. Now, the one thing that does kind of throw me off is that he says, not the quarry we hope to snare tonight, but we are nothing if not flexible.
Oh
So,
God,
like,
that
who
does
is
sound
we?
like him. That sounds like
Oh, you think he's using the royal we?
If it is Starline, that's a frickin' Starline. That Starline is the drama kid mad scientist.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, like and like I feel like it's probably going to be a character we know, and like he's the most interesting one they could go with. Like, so if if it is Starline, I would be more than happy with that.
Oh God, it is mimicking the Chaotix, isn't it? Then nobody's dead.
well, no. If it's Mimic, I'm certain it's gonna be. Oh, but it's gonna be before he died. And Shigs, any final thoughts on this?
I'm liking the dialogue. I like the exchanges, especially you can tell Belle's just burnt up the Eggman's got a new daughter after she lost Mr. Tinker, who was Eggman was originally.
Like,
and she just I can already tell the moment she said about father, she just started loathing.
What's so perfect about this is that it pokes directly at a major like trauma point for her, and this was like something that like largely predates Frontiers, which makes it like oddly fitting in a way that almost feels planned. But
one of my favorite parts was she really snaps at Sage and said something, and Sonic kind of comes to Sage's defense. He's like, oh, take it a little easy on her, because Sonic doesn't really hate Sage. Even though Sage considers him his enemies, they get along on a certain level. And so Belle snaps and goes, "Oh, you gonna replace me with a new Model 2?" and she instantly, apologizes for it.
Yeah,
but that was a great little moment, because you can tell this just hurts her inside.
Y'all ever watch the Tangled animated series?
Yes, I watched the whole thing.
This sounds very okay. If you've watched the whole thing, this sounds very Tangled coded. You remember that last season?
Really good series.
It's real good.
Specifically, the final season.
Yeah, it is very good, Chigs. You should watch it if you have a chance.
It's surprisingly good. Like I was shocked. But so what was the one thing I was going to? Oh yeah, for me, like one of the big highlights of this, in addition to the dialogue, was the art. Like the art almost feels like Iizuka in terms of like the character the character movements and the angles and everything, because it feels like him. And Xmaru Fonseca, this is like maybe the second person after Spaz who's been able to kind of get that art style down. So
the art style, the pencils were good, but I thought the colors were too flat.
I guess, but that's just kind of how IDW tends to look. So I admit I didn't really think about that too much. And finally, I do love Sonic's personality in this. I do feel like Stanley and Ian Flynn must
he's
make a
kind of
really
in
good.
this awkward position between the two
Yeah.
girls here, the two daughters.
Stanley and Flynn make a very good team. This is like I think the first story that they've ever co-written. In any case, that's all I have to say.
Yeah, it's up to a good start.
So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. So with that, I think we can sign off and go to bed.
Or in my case, have dinner.
Yeah. So you can check us out on YouTube and Blue Sky and Twitter, and of course our website sonicstadium.org.
Yep. As always, our opinions are our own, but
yeah.
Our show, broadly speaking, is under the banner of Sonic Stadium over at sonicstadium.org, one of the internet's longest-running Sonic fan communities. We've got plenty of news coverage, and with things popping off as much as they have, you can bet that things are quite busy over there, catching all that coverage for the anniversary and the continued Sonic CrossWorlds stuff.
And I do plan on hopping back on Sonic coverage. Like I did have to take a bit of a sabbatical from everything aside from like the Chaotix case files debut.
Speaking of sabbaticals, SEGA Sonic Radio will be back to streaming this month. It will be back. I am very excited to have it back. I still have a lot of things to do to get ready, but I think at this point I'm going to say it is not going to be this Friday. I am currently aiming for next Friday, so early next week. Keep a lookout on the website, on our Discord, on our Twitters and Blue Skies for a request thread. I've already decided our first theme for the year, and it is going to be First Levels. So you're going to get
interesting.
So get those requests in and tune in, hopefully, in about 2 weeks on Friday. Ironically, coincidentally, Friday the 13th.
And in the meantime, you have been uploading both Sega Sonic Radio and Sonic Talk.
Yep, we are all
getting through that backlog.
We are all caught up on Sega Sonic Radio VODs. You can catch the entire series, although I will be, as I am running the series proper, I will also be uploading, or at least moving, the original Season 0 Sega Sonic Radio over to our dedicated YouTube channel. And we only have a couple more Sega Sonic Talk VODs left. I just finished 141 today. It should go up tomorrow, and I will continue publishing those one about every day-ish until we're all caught up, including this one.
Yes. And so I will be doing some kind of Sonic Rumble Season 3 coverage of some sort. So stay tuned for that, I guess, if that's how you're experiencing the game. Especially, I guess, including Dadonpa, which I did not know I could do. So yeah, with that, I think we're ready to sign off.
One more quick teaser. We do have some new streaming ideas coming at you over the next year. Certainly, we have ideas for other podcasts. One specific one that I know Knuckles has been wanting to do, or wanting to do properly, for quite a long time, that it's mostly been me dragging my feet on, but I am getting certainly closer to a technical format that I think will make a lot more sense. So keep an eye out for an Archie-focused podcast sometime in the near future. Archie, or just general comics or something?
It's still mostly Archie focused, but I do want to take little detours into other things.
I want to at some point properly read through the UK ones, because they seem
one of the detours
absolutely whack. But also I had an idea with you, and it's going to be Sega focused. I believe the working title is Sega Assignment, And
yes, I wrote up a nice big juicy list, and I've added some things to it since I sent it to you.
where I want to play more weird Sega games, and Knuckles is a pseudo expert on weird Sega classic nonsense, and he's going to give me games and I'm going to play them. But most significantly, I want you to go, you the listener, right now, you're going to go and search on YouTube, Sega Sonic Radio. Sega Sonic's one word, radio is the second word. And you're going to subscribe to that YouTube channel. And the reason why you're going to subscribe is when I get to, I believe my number is 500. If we can get to 500 subscribers, I am doing a full playthrough streamed of Balan Wonderworld. If you want to make me suffer...
Oh, Lord.
If you want to make me suffer yet again in the Balan Wonderworld mines, get a subscription in and follow Sega Sonic Radio.
God,
make it happen,
yes.
people. It's in your court. There's not there's not a time limit on this. Once it gets to 500, that's happening.
And then there's one for Sonic Jams, I recall.
There are further stretch goals whenever we get subscriptions up even further. But I want to get more people listening to Sega Sonic Radio because I think more people will enjoy it. So give me a subscribe to that channel, and let's get me playing some awful games.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Shigs,
okay.
go eat!
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace
and
out.
see you later.
See ya.
Bye.